Well, this little TV show of ours is not the only place to get great CFL information. Log on your little computer at tsn.ca/CFL. All the stuff you need to know. Some of the same features you watch on this very same show. Analysis from our three geniuses. All the statistics and our weekly picks, which are all just a click away at tsn.ca/CFL. Well, in the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs have the Twin Towers, Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Well, out in BC, they have the Twin Powers, Millington and Drummond, a couple of horses in the backfield that form one heck of a power running attack. For more on this, let's check out Virtual Replay with Matt and Chris.
Virtual Replay, brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Chris, it's all about game planning, and Joe Powell and the BC Lions incorporate one simple offensive running play into their game plan, taking full advantage of the Saskatchewan Roughriders' propensity to walk their linebackers up on the line of scrimmage. Here they are here, three of them right there, negating the middle of the football field. Now, BC understands this. They're going to incorporate a give or a dive play, taking full advantage of the middle where Saskatchewan is most weak.
And Matt, taking full advantage of physical mismatches. And right here's a key one. Aaron Collins is about 225 pounds. They expect him to handle Steve Harden, a 300-pound offensive guard. That's tough. But here's the key. Across the front, all the defensive linebackers are in two-point stances. Hey, winning offensive line play is about leverage. A guy coming off the ball in a three-point stance has an immense advantage over a guy in a two-point stance. So what happens? Sean Millington gets the football in stride, breaks into that next level. There is nobody there from inside-out pursuit. And all you young kids, watch how he uses his straight arm here, aggressively right into the pads of that defender. He gains an extra 6 yards on that play because of that technique.
Great look at it here, Chris. We got a double team with Terrace and Payne right here on the defensive lineman, and then Payne is going to slip up and block who? The official, because there's nobody in the middle of the football field. This is why they incorporated this play. We're going to get a hat and a hat everywhere else, and then Millington's going to do the rest. This is simple offensive play that BC runs to perfection, taking full advantage of this game, dominating the line of scrimmage, and this is what ultimately wins the football game for them.
Might we see one other facet of the Lions running game we've never seen before? I tell you, Louis Pasaglia says one of his few regrets, one of the few things he's never done in football he'd like to do is a rushing touchdown. Let's see if the Lions put some sort of special play. That would be a real special play for him to do that. For more on Louis' night, kickoff is about 10 minutes away. Let's check in with John and Glenn in Vancouver.
James Lupasaglia caught a touchdown pass in his first ever game in the CFL. He thought he was on his way as a receiver. The Lions saw more talent in his kicking abilities, and he's held that job ever since. But still, he's made big plays over 25 years.
Yeah, it's every player's dream to make that big play in a championship game. That's why when Louis Pasaglia looks back on his 25-year career, his two fondest memories are probably 85 in the championship against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Montreal in the punt formation. He pulled the ball down like he did so many times throughout his career. Got a key first down. Of course, the Lions went on to win that one.
He scored 18 points in that one, and he scored the final 3 in this one, the Grey Cup here at BC Place 1994. It was all on the line.
In 85, he used his athletic ability, and then in 94, he had nerves of steel, nailing that one with no time on the clock.
So it's Louis' night here at the stadium at BC Place as Lion fans honor their most popular player ever.
And Louis' night will continue after the game here on TSN. When the game is done, of course, they have a ceremony to honor Louis Pasaglia, and we will stay with it and show you Louis' big night. An emotional night for everybody. Louis Pasaglia trying to keep those nerves calm as he warms up for the last time under the roof at BC Place. Oh, yeah, football game, too. Lions and Riders getting ready to go at it. We'll get you ready for kickoff next. Place. For the past 25 years, it's been Louie's house, and tonight Louie throws one big house party. His last home game on the CFL Live.
I gotta find something else we can sign off.
Hey folks, and welcome to Saturday Night CFL Live. James Duffy along with my friends Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and the lead singer of the Insane Clown Posse, Chris Schultz. I don't know. It's our last Saturday night. I know. Kickers, you know, are the guys who you only usually notice when they miss. That's the only time they get attention. Well, not so tonight. All eyes will be on Louie Passaglia as he says goodbye to BC fans after a quarter-century of kicks. All sorts of praise for Louie this week, and all well-deserved. That you deserve to praise him a little bit, too, because he's one of the reasons you have that ring on your finger.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Lou. And also thanks to Darren Flutie, the holder, and to Matt Clark, the deep snapper, who never gets mentioned. This is a special, special night for Louie Passaglia, and it should be. Family, friends, and fans that love Louie are gathering to say goodbye and thanks to a true legend. But I think it's important for us to remember that this may not be Louie's last hurrah. This BC Lions team is very dangerous. They've gotten hot at the right time. And if they make a run later in this month, Louie is at a lot of great moments, but his greatest moment just could come later this month, Chris.
Hey, there's no doubt this is his night, but there's also a football game that's going to happen, and it's the BC Lions that have the opportunity because this is unique. This game means nothing for their playoffs. But if I'm Coach Barato, you know what I remind my guys? I say, guys, it is impossible to have that game intensity during our week of preparation for the semifinal against Edmonton. If you are true pros, you're going to go out there and you're going to play with that intensity that you want to reproduce in that semifinal game. If you are true pros, I'm not going to see a letdown in your personal play. And if you are true pros, imagine how easy it's going to be a week from now when we are playing for real for the playoffs. I would make sure my guys understand that they have to be pro football players, no let-ups, play hard, Matty.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders certainly have to be pro football players, Chris. It is gut check time for the Riders. They don't have that carrot dangling out in front of them anymore. They are simply playing for the love of the game. Coach Danny Barrett, he's from the old school. Whenever he suited up, he went out there and left it on the football field, and he fully expects his young football team to go out there and play the same way they have for the last 17 weeks. I expect Darren Davis and the rest of the group for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to go out there and leave it on the football field. An exciting team with an exciting future, and they want to end this season on an up note to go into next year with a winning streak.
All right, well, the GMs, the quarterbacks, the linemen, they all have respect for Louie, but probably nobody has more respect for him than the guys who do his job every single week. Those are his peers. Here is more praise for Louie from the guys who kick just like him.
Being a young player, you know, being my first year, it's nice to have a guy to look up to who's been so successful for so long in this league. It gives a guy like me a lot of hope for the future.
I can't recall watching a single game in my entire life where I haven't seen Lou play. I mean, I think I was 8 years old or so when he started playing. The man's a national legend. There's no question about it. My very first game that I ever played was against Lou in the Dome. And so that was just something I'll never forget. And, you know, his greatness is well documented by the amount of records and the points that he's got.
Yeah, everybody kept asking me, are you trying to outdo Louis, try to last longer than Louis? And I never really thought about it. I thought, you know, I mean, even if I last longer, he's had a 25-year career. I would love to come back next year, but I don't know if that's in the cards or not. But I mean, 25 years in playing professional sports is phenomenal. I'll give it to him. He's won that aspect of it for sure.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time at BC Place, he's pro football's all-time leading scorer. He's playing in his 408th and final regular season game. He's been the face of the BC Lions for the past quarter century. Ladies and gentlemen, from Simon Fraser University, number 5, Louie Passaglia.
And you can see the emotion on Louie Passaglia's face. His final game at BC Place is ahead. Kickoff coming up.
Of your BC Lions. Way back in 1976, Louie Passaglia had a chance to fulfill his dream at the BC Lions training camp. He won a job, and it's lasted an unbelievable 25 years.
All dreams, unfortunately, come to an end. 25 years, 408 games, and virtually every record available to a kicker belongs to Louie as he makes his final curtain call tonight.
At the stadium at BC Place, One last kick at it for Lou Pasaglia before the hometown fans. It's Lou's final game on home turf. It will be an emotional time for all BC fans.
Danny Barrett's Rough Riders were there when Pinball played his last game, and they'll be here when Louis plays his last game. Tough situation, but this is a team that's turned its season around.
Steve Barretto gets one last game to get ready for a Sunday date with the Eskimos in the Western semifinal in Edmonton. First kick of the night will not be Lou Pasaglia's. Brett Anderson will kick off proceedings here at BC Place Stadium.
He was an emotional Louis Pasaglia when he was standing there listening to his name introduced for the last time here at BC Place Stadium.
And only the second time in his career. Louis Pasaglia was introduced one time at Empire Stadium. Didn't like the feeling that night, so asked that he not be introduced again. So he was here tonight. Chris Zarka on the return. And Henry Burris slightly shaken up, missed last week's game. Marvin Graves jumped in for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, had a pretty nice night, threw 3 touchdown passes and beat the Eskimos. The receivers outside are Marsh and Bendross, inside Gulliford and Farthing, and the running back is Davis. He's had a great year. Up front, Andrew Green at left guard is the nominee for the Roughriders for the Dodge Outstanding Player Awards. Tonight's lineups brought to you by Midas, your auto service experts. Marvin Graves to throw on first down, and he's on the money for a first down to Curtis Marsh.
Well, a few changes for the defensive side of the football for the BC Lions. Their nominee for outstanding defensive player, Herman Smith, out of the lineup, replaced by Keith Jackson up front. Damon Cogdell gets the start at middle linebacker, and in the secondary, Mike Crum is the free safety, and they'll go with Chuck Levy on the corner, replacing the injured Raphael Ball.
So big first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Just outside the BC 40-yard line. Graves again. He's 2 for 2. And it's Marsh again, short of the first down this time. But Graves played pretty well last week, I thought, against Edmonton.
Well, he played tremendous when you consider he hasn't had a whole lot of playing time. Got a lot of playing time. In fact, played the whole game. And Henry Burris threw a little bit in warm-up. The shoulder isn't perfect, and they say, why risk it? This game obviously doesn't mean anything in the standings. Give Marvin Graves a chance to play and not further injure the shoulder of Henry Burris.
Well, they don't want their #1 quarterback rehabbing through the entire offseason if he further damages his right shoulder. Gain of 9. This is 2nd and 1, and Graves will have the first down with relative ease. Starting quarterbacks tonight. Close up here for Robbins Donuts. Marvin Graves, 24 of 47, 390 yards and limited playing time. And Damon Allen hitting on 61% of his passes, which is absolutely a fabulous number.
Of course, last week, Damon Allen broke Brad Lancaster's record for all-time passing yardage.
Graves on first down. Darren Davis made the catch. And well short of a first down. In fact, the loss of about 4 yards on the play.
Well, Darren Davis has really become the guy for the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they look at that position into the future and into next year. Darren Davis very close to making that 100 or the 1,000-yard mark as a running back.
He's at 910 coming into the game. 2nd and 15 from the shotgun. Graves has time. Got it away. Almost underhanded or sidearmed, intending it for Zarka. But Graves hits the turf, and the Roughriders are in a kicking situation.
Well, he just drops back into that shotgun formation. Good coverage downfield by the BC secondary, who've been playing better in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Good news for them heading into the playoffs, a date against the Edmonton Eskimos in Edmonton. One hop that one to Curtis Marsh.
Paul McCallum hitting on 78% of his field goal tries. This ball will be spotted right near the 44-yard line. First points of the Knights. Not up on the board yet. Well, one will count as Cunningham surrenders a single. So McCallum is wide from 44. The kicking hero everyone is waiting to see tonight is on the other side. It's Louis' night at BC Place. Lions quarterback Damon Allen, after a big week last week when he became the CFL's all-time leading passer, has an outside shot to hit 5,000 yards this season.
Well, the question tonight will be, does Steve Barato leave him in the football game long enough to get 5,000? I don't know that he will.
Coming in, he's 243 yards shy. Sean Millington looking for a big night too, hoping to crack the 1,000-yard barrier. He's 48 away coming in. Jackson and Blair are the outside receivers. Oliver and Graham inside. Got a pretty nice backfield look at with Millington and Drummond. Up front, Jamie Terrace is the anchor. Chris Perez is the nominee for the Dodge Outstanding Offensive Lineman Award. Gain of 5 yards. This is 2nd and 5. Little shovel pass and a one-handed catch by Jimmy Cunningham. That's good for the first down.
Well, defensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, their nominee for outstanding defensive player is Demetrius Maxey. The nominee for outstanding rookie is George White, who leads the CFL in tackles. And in the secondary, Marcus McDavid is the free safety with 3 interceptions and a sack on the season.
Cunningham got the first down. The Lions hand off to Sean Millington. Four yards for Millington, who's had an outstanding season here.
Well, he really has. He's on the verge of 1,000 yards rushing on the season and really picked it up in the second half, which is, again, good news heading to Commonwealth Stadium, where the running game becomes more important as the weather turns foul.
And it could be that way for the Western semifinal next Sunday afternoon. Lions and the Eskimos at Commonwealth. Deep drop for Allen and a huge throw. Touchdown, Alfred Jackson. And that was a beauty. He didn't break stride. 55 yards.
Deja vu to a week ago. Damon Allen, of course, passed Ron Lancaster for all-time yardage for a quarterback on a 45-yard throw to that guy, Alfred Jackson. And this is how he started the game last week, with a big play. And you're right, John. I mean, Alfred Jackson caught that one in stride.
We won't hear that little chant after tonight in this stadium, will we? For Lou Pasaglia, who has his first point of the evening, the Lions have a 7-1 lead on the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
It all starts for protection up front for Damon Allen. He gets time to throw the football. Marcus McDavid is a little shallow, number 32, and Alfred Jackson blows right by him, and Nate Terry catches it in stride, and with that catch goes over 1,000 yards receiving on the season. What a throw by Damon Allen. Up and overs where only Alfred Jackson can catch it. Nate Terry in the game for Jackie Mitchell.
Jackson's 11th touchdown reception of the season. Short kick. Coming down to Kennedy Nikiason near the 40 and across to about the 42. 6 on the return.
Well, if Alfred Jackson keeps having a night like that, then Louis Pasaglia will just be kicking singles on the extra point. Pretty excited for his teammate. Went on there and kicked the extra point. By the way, throughout his career, only missed 3 extra points his entire career. 1,042 tries.
3 misses.
Only 3 misses in his
Percentage
entire
on that
career.
is pretty darn good, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't figure out the percentage, but it's good.
Saskatchewan first down. And tough running at the 45 for a 5-yard gain. Darren Davis
You know, the question mark for the Lions as they head into the playoffs, and has been all year long, is their defensive side of the football. They lost Rafael Ball to injury on the corner a week ago. That puts Chuck Levy on the corner. The first chance that he gets a full game at corner. He's an offensive player and has been throughout his career, and that includes college and his time in the National Football League.
But he's a great athlete, and they figure he can do the job out there. Graves, far side. Levy will have to come up and make the tackle here.
Well, they're testing him. Saskatchewan Roughriders going right at him to see if he can play the corner from start to finish. And the guy they're going to is Curtis Marsh. In 2 games against the BC Lions this year that Curtis Marsh played in, he had over 300 yards receiving. He's just going to run an out pattern over there. It was Chuck Levy gets him lots of room and turns his hips in a hurry to respect his speed. So they'll go after him and just see if that two-way player can hang in there from start to finish on the island.
19-yard gain, 1st and 10. Riders at the BC 46. Marvin Graves playing for Henry Burroughs tonight. This is long for Ben Ross. He's got it. And out at the 1-yard line. But there's a flag down in the area of the catch. Ben Ross made the catch, almost got to the end zone.
Well, it looked like some confusion in that secondary for the BC Lions. They all bailed out across the board.
Contact on a receiver. BC number 2. Penalties declined. 1st down.
I should say so. That was Eric Carter called there.
Well, Marvin Graves had his choice of receivers, a lot of open receivers to look at. The Lions secondary, like I mentioned, just turned around and bailed.
Riders get a good chance here now with Ben Ross out at the 1 to take the lead one more time. Flags are down again, and Davis has the touchdown if it stands. He made it across the line. He's really made a difference to Saskatchewan's offense, Darren Davis.
Well, coming into the game 90 yards away from 1,000 yards on the season, and you're absolutely right. Darren Davis, and that's why they're so excited about this football team and the future of the football team in Saskatchewan. Darren Davis is their tailback, close to 1,000 yards. What Henry Burroughs has done all season. They're going to have to try this again. It looked like they were offside. Oh, no, then it was procedure against the Lions.
So they do rule it a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Referee's mic was not heard in the stadium, so there's a malfunction down there with the microphone. McCallum adds the single point. Roughriders have the lead by a point on the BC Lions.
CFL football on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate air cleaning filters. Breathe the difference.
Darren Davis averaging 6.3 yards per carry, has his 4th touchdown of the season, and the Roughriders are back in the lead by a point. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham for the Lions out across the 20 to the 25 and stopped at about the 32-yard line. George White leading the Saskatchewan tacklers there. Damon is perfect so far tonight.
Yeah, 2 for 2, and the big play to Alfred Jackson was for the touchdown. You know, Damon's played his best football in the last 4 games of the season. We talked about a little bit last week that there was some question around the midway point as to whether or not he would pass Ron Lancaster this year or have to wait till next year, but he came on strong in the second half, which is more importantly good news for the BC Lions because they're heading into the playoffs.
And coming into tonight's game, Allen is 243 yards shy of 5,000 passing. John Millington for a couple.
But John, similar to last night's game in Winnipeg, for the Edmonton Eskimos, how long does Damon Allen stay in the football game? And that's what Steve Barato has to deal with here tonight. Yeah, he wants to keep him in the game and keep him sharp, but he doesn't want to get him injured. So we will see Doug Nussmeier throughout this football game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him through the entire second half.
Second down and 8. BC from the Lions 35. Allen to his left, and he rifled that one in there. Catch is made out at the 50 by Alfred Jackson, but there's a penalty marker down back near the line of scrimmage.
Alfred Jackson found the hole in the zone defense, but what a throw by Damon Allen. Again, he's rolling away from his throwing arm and rolling to his left. And on full sprint, throws that ball back into the hole.
Holding, Saskatchewan 91. Penalties declined, first down.
And it'll stand as a 17-yard gain.
Well, on that big bomb he caught for the touchdown, he used his speed. This time he uses his head. Doesn't have to go full speed. He recognizes the defense and just sits down where the defenders aren't. Finds a little hole, and Damon Allen rolling full speed to his left threw a dart right in there.
Heck of a pass from the 51 now. Millington ran into initial pressure, and then he's grabbed by Henry, number 11. Couple of tackles back-to-back for Andrew Henry.
Well, it's interesting what the BC Lions are doing offensively, because they're throwing in a lot of different type of plays, and there's a couple reasons for that. Test them out prior to going to the playoffs in a game that doesn't mean anything in the standings, and also put some plays on the film so that the Edmonton Eskimos have to take a look at them throughout the week. Saw a couple of shovel passes to Sean Millington, one to Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, something we haven't seen a lot of this year.
Allen got some heat, and there's no one there. Millington tried to recover and get to the ball, but there was heat on Allen from the beginning.
Well, it looked like he was trying to set up a screen pass to Sean Millington, and Millington was covered initially, so he had to hang on to the football right there. That allowed the pressure to get to him. Andrew Henry was the first one in his face, so he just throws that one away and saves the loss.
Lucas Haglia's first punt tonight on the season is average 38.9. Fans are here to enjoy Lou Pasaglia one last time, without question. Pretty nice kick. Eric Gulliford. And he ran right smack dab into Sean Millington, who fired him to the turf like a rodeo cowboy.
Nice tackle in the open field by Millington. Covering Louis Pasaglia's kick. If you add up all the yardage, field goals, kickoffs, punt yardage throughout Louis Pasaglia's career, regular season and playoffs, it's 251,753 yards.
So that's about from here to where?
Here to Merritt, BC. 228 kilometers. He has kicked the football over 25 years.
On first down, Saskatchewan, Darren Davis gets the call. Well, what to watch for tonight? A little bit of Louis Pasaglia.
Yeah, let's just watch Louis. I think let's watch him kick. If he does get 8 field goals tonight, he'll get to 4,000 points, and that would tie a CFL record.
The 8 field goals, 4,000 points is
he's
way
already
up there.
Yeah, he already has the record. Louis, pass or run. He has passed the football throughout his career. In fact, almost for 500 yards. This is rushing yardage.
Yeah. And finally, when it's all over, take a bow after 25 seasons as a BC Lion.
Well deserved.
Marvin Graves on second down. Flag was down, and Levy looked to be the guy who was fingered there. The pass was intended for Bendras.
Well, this does two things. One, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are no question about it going right after Chuck Levy. It doesn't
Illegal
matter.
contact on the receiver, BC number 3.
It doesn't matter if it's Curtis Marsh or if it doesn't matter if it's Demetrius Bendras. Wherever Chuck Levy lines up, that's where they're throwing the football. And the ref said 3. I believe he meant 23.
Yeah, I don't have a 3 on the BC Lions roster.
No,
here, so.
it is 23. He had his hands all over Demetrius Bendras. The other side of that issue, though, is Steve Barato's getting a chance to see whether or not Chuck Levy can play on that corner.
Davis tries the outside. May get around the corner for impressive yardage. Beat a couple of tacklers for 4, maybe 5 yards.
It's one of the things they like about Darren Davis and they like about the future at the position is that he's durable enough up inside but has great speed to get to the outside, so he can really give you both. You don't have to make a substitution. No hole right there. Kelly Lockbaum steps up into that hole, so he bounces it back to the outside, outruns the angle from Eric Carter, picks up pretty good yardage.
Gain is 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. Darren Davis, pretty good chance to hit 1,000. And Chuck Levy in the middle of it again over there. Got tangled up and drew a flag. Marsh was the intended receiver.
Well, Chuck Levy has played a little bit throughout the season in the secondary, but he's played as the extra defensive back, and a lot of times that'll put him in the middle of the formation, and you'll be able to hide him a little bit in there.
Receiver,
you see how he
23
pulls down the shirt of Curtis Marsh and just doesn't let him get off the line of scrimmage. Well, you get out there on the corner and you know the opposing team knows you're starting out there. They're going to see if you can hang in there, and right now Chuck Levy's having a tough night.
That's to say the least of it right now, but they felt confident that he might be able to do the job, and as you say, he has filled in a time or two and gotten it done. Davis is hammered.
Well, they also have a rookie dress tonight in Michael Jordan out of Tulane. Not the Michael Jordan that everyone else is familiar with. He didn't come out of his retirement in basketball to play for the BC Lions, but it's a new Michael Jordan from Tulane, and he's on the corner right now. So let Chuck Levy go over there on the sideline, watch a little bit, see if he can't figure out what's going on, get a little help from the coaching staff on the sideline. That's Ken Haley who was talking to, former CFL player in Winnipeg.
Well, the real Michael Jordan has tried baseball and golf. Far side for Marsh. Flags everywhere, however, before the pass was made. If it stands, it'll be a 13-yard gain.
Well, up until a few weeks ago, Curtis Marsh.
Offside. BC 26. Penalties declined. First down.
That was Carl Kidd, so it will be a first down for the Roughriders, who have a 1-point lead here. 2:04 to go, opening quarter.
Until a few weeks ago, Curtis Marsh was the front runner for Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League, leading the CFL in receiving yardage at 14:43 coming into this game, the 10 touchdowns, and then kind of walked out on the team in training camp, and they gave the nomination to George White on defense.
On 1st and 10, Marsh has another one. Derek Lewis made the tackle, number 17. He was the first receiver, Glenn, over 1,000 yards this season.
That's right. He had some problems away from the game. Walked out of practice. They straightened it out. He apologized to his teammates, but the damage was done in the eyes of the voters.
Well, he missed a key game.
No question
about it. In that stage of things, missed one game because of the walkout.
And it's not to say that George White doesn't deserve the nomination on defense.
Well, he is the leading tackler in the CFL in his rookie season. On 2nd down, Marvin Graves hammers one in there. It'll be another Saskatchewan first down inside the 20. Bendras made the catch. So he's had a couple of big ones already tonight.
Well, if Marvin Graves continues to get this much time to throw the football, it's going to be a long night for the BC Lions. And, of course, the Lions are hurt up front. They don't have Herman Smith, their nominee for outstanding defensive player in the defensive line. Keith Jackson replaces him. They're going with a couple of backups. And right now, Marvin Graves is standing back there having a coffee looking down the field.
Well, no question they missed David Benefield out of the lineup this week, and Herman Smith as well. Both are expected back for next week in the playoff game. Davis is upended.
Well, this is what it'll force the Lions to do, though. Without the guys up front providing the pressure when you're just rushing 4, they're going to have to blitz guys like Carl Kidd and their linebackers and Kelly Lockbaum and Damon Cogdell. If they start to blitz those guys, then they leave their defensive backs in one-on-one. And remember, you've got that tryout happening at the corner position.
Zeros on the score clock here at BC Place. This could be the last play of the opening quarter. Riders looking at 2nd and 10 from the Lion 18. Graves shotgun. Stands in. One fake. Touchdown toss. Almost to Curtis Marsh. It would have been a spectacular catch, would it not?
Yeah, he had to lay out for it. Ball thrown way out in front of him. He almost came up with it.
Final play of the quarter. Curtis Marsh laid out for a nice touchdown toss from Marvin Graves. About 2 inches too far.
The CFL live on TSN at the quarter.
I want to make note of the fact that just because this is a nothing game, my guys, same preparation.
Yes.
You were mentally focused going in. There's been no letdown whatsoever. And I know you want to highlight, because the game doesn't mean all that much, some of the individual performances and such.
Well, I really like what Marvin Graves is doing at the quarterback position. You know, way back about '94, he had a very serious back injury, and it really slowed down his development. It's nice to see this young guy coming back and playing some effective football. But you also look around the league. Stanley Jackson in Montreal has quality. Doug Nussmeier or Nussmeier, I'm not sure which, is a quality quarterback. Dan Crowley in Edmonton, at the beginning of the CFL season, a lot of the negative talk was, where are the quarterbacks? Well, there's 4 good ones that can lead football teams to championships, Matty.
Nussmeier, Schultz.
Nussmeier. God, you scared me when you stopped there, man.
Hey, I know people are playing for jobs out there, and they're trying to get jobs out there, and one that is trying to secure a position is this man right here, Damon Cogdell, number 12. He's from West Virginia. He's 6'2", 250 pounds. He's a run stopper. Adam Rita has been looking for somebody since the absence of their middle rookie linebacker last year, Paul Lacoste. Adam Rita has got a man to stop the run. The BC Lions has found a middle linebacker.
Manny, I'm going to take a little different angle. I'm going to talk about assistant coaches. These guys work long, hard hours and get almost no recognition or credit. Richie Hall this year, he's gone with 5 rookies in the secondary. The secondary is getting better. It's quite a challenge tonight, but Richie Hall deserves a tip of the hat.
Other stuff to look for, Curtis Marsh trying to win the receiving yards title. He needs about 30 to pass Milt Stiegel. Darren Davis and Millington looking for 1,000-yard seasons.
You mentioned John, Louis Passaglia introduced before this football game, obviously very emotional. That was the shot of him just before they called him out. He's only been introduced twice in 25 years with the BC Lions. The first time was his very first game in Empire Stadium, and it was such a tremendous feeling for Louis Passaglia to be introduced and start the dream that he had as a child growing up in Vancouver. He felt he could never top that. He could never top the feeling he had that very first introduction at Empire, so he asked the team to not introduce him again. So that's the second time in 25 years that he's been introduced.
Very seldom do special teams units get introduced. There's the field goal try for McCallum. It's on the money, and he's just one of the kickers that tried to take Louis' job away over the years. Here's Farhan.
Thanks, John. We're here with one of the other kickers trying to take Louis' job at least next year, Dan Giancola. Dan, you're not in the lineup right now, but you're probably more nervous than Louis. You got a camcorder. You're trying to chronicle all of this.
Oh yeah, man. This is phenomenal. I've idolized this guy my whole life, and I came out of the closet today and told him. So it's huge. This is great for him. I'm ecstatic for him. I can't believe I'm here. This is just I might be on the sidelines right now, but I'm still in CFL and I'm enjoying this moment. And this one thing I'll never forget. It's a great experience.
Now you're going to win the league's timing award. You'll be in the right place at the right time next year. Talk about trying to replace a legend.
It's going to be, it's going to be something. I'm nervous. I'm very much looking forward to it. There's no question about that. And I hope if they give me the opportunity to come in here, and I don't think anybody can replace Louis Passaglia. But actually, I know nobody can replace Louis, but I can do my best to be the best I can be and do the best I can do for the team and the city.
Dan, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's Dan Giancola. I'll tell you, he is going crazy. Louis spending the whole time on the sidelines trying to get him away from him.
Penalty on that previous play, a couple of yards for Sean Millington. Interesting when you look on the other side of the field. You know who's a free agent next year? Paul McCallum.
Well,
you know who wouldn't mind playing in BC next year?
Well, Dan Giancola may have Paul McCallum to battle with in training camp, but there are an awful lot of kickers throughout the last 25 years that look up to Louis Passaglia. Paul McCallum was one of them.
Millington was spun around after he grabbed about a half a yard. It was 1st and 5. Penalty against the Lions. Here are the numbers after quarter 1. Time of possession favors Saskatchewan. 10 minutes, 19 seconds compared to 4:41.
Yeah, well, the Lions scored on one play. Saskatchewan's been moving the football successfully and going after Chuck Levy on defense. working that side of the field, but not enough field goals for Louis Pasaglia in his big night.
He hasn't had an opportunity yet.
No, maybe Damon Allen can get him in field goal range on this drive.
Billington couldn't make the catch. He was spun around a little bit. And Omar Morgan was right in his rearview mirror.
Sean Millington would want that football a little earlier from Damon Allen. He drops back and tosses it out there. He has to come back to try and get it. Had he got that ball a little bit earlier, he might have got a chance to turn the corner.
Second punt of the night for Lou Pasaglia, standing back inside his 30. Third down and a couple to go. He wouldn't run here, would he?
Well, he's done it many, many times in 25 years.
That's a little high, and so is the punt. Louis angles it to the far side. Not much room to run over there for Eric Gulliford. Lou Pasaglia's farewell night at the stadium at BC Place.
Congratulations, Louis, on your long career. And I remember watching you when I was a young child back in Ancaster, Ontario.
Yeah.
No, I guess I wasn't. We're the same age. But seriously, good luck in your off-field endeavors. I know you'll do well. And next time you play against Winnipeg, make sure we win. Thanks, Bob.
Comedian kickers all night tonight.
Well, Bob Cameron has way more gray hair than Louis.
Just a little younger. Here's Marvin Graves. And that'll be good for a first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Graves really had a nice week against Edmonton last week. Put 54 points up on the board.
Well, it's tryout time for everyone in the Saskatchewan Roughriders organization. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of season you've had. You don't want to give up in the last two games, even though you're out of the playoff picture. You know that coaches will be looking at the last two films throughout the offseason. You want to show well and make sure you're invited back to training camp.
And the Riders have moved the ball well tonight. Here's Darren Davis. Reversing his field and finding room to the other side, leading the blockers. Out front is the quarterback, Graves, who got all the way down to the 20-yard line. Darren Davis finally stopped by Crum.
What's impressive about the run is the way he puts the brakes on, starts again, and accelerates so quickly. Right there, he's at a dead stop. There, he stops dead in his tracks, then starts again. Marvin Graves tries to get a block, passes up a couple of guys. Mike Crum, one of them. He makes the tackle, but impressive run. Watch when he puts the brakes on as he runs this football. Bounces to the outside, slams on the brakes there, and then great acceleration coming out of that, gets to the reverses field.
Net result, a 28-yard gain, and Davis has it again. This time, the Lions are waiting, and he's limited to 3. Playing in his 12th game in 2000.
Went to Iowa State, the first player in college history at that university to rush for over 1,000 years in 3 straight years. 1,000 yards, I should say, in 3 straight years. And got tremendous change of direction. Cuts on a dime, hands you a little change, and goes back the other way.
And he's closing in on 1,000 here tonight. 51 yards so far. And he was 90 short coming in. Graves with time. Nice toss. Marsh makes the catch, and 3 Lions are there waiting to pounce on him, led by Carter. Curtis Marsh has had an outstanding season, an excellent road runner.
Well, he's got it all. He's got great speed, but tremendous size as well, around 6'3". He's over 200 pounds, and that's why he's so dangerous. When he takes off and he's that size, it's awful difficult for corners who usually are around 5'11" to stay with him. Leading the CFL in his first year in this league. Now he's an older rookie.
29.
Yeah.
80 yards already tonight. First down, Saskatchewan. Graves to the end zone. Touchdown. Eric Gulliford has his 7th touchdown reception this season.
Well, I mentioned the lack of pressure from a banged-up defensive line means the Lions have to blitz, and they send their linebackers up into the line of scrimmage, which means one-on-ones in the back end, and Derek Lewis gets beat to the outside from Eric Gulliford.
All right. Says Marvin Graves. 3 touchdown tosses last week against the Eskimos.
You know, with Eric Gulliford on one side and Curtis Marsh on the other side of the formation in this receiving core, they both had 1,000 yards on the season. The last time that happened was back in '94 for Saskatchewan with Elgard and Donald Narcisse.
Roughriders off to a hot start. Nothing on the line for Saskatchewan on CFL Live tonight. The ageless kicker Louis Pasaglia has made a lot of friends in 25 years in this league. Here's Farhan Lousi.
John, a number of Louis' former coaches are in town today, including Don Matthews. Don, now you've been involved in 3 Grey Cups with Louis. 2 of them on his team, 1 on the other sideline. What do you remember the most?
Well, I remember the impact he had in 1985. Just before the half, he was going to get a punt block. He pulled it down and ran for a first down. Was the turning point in that Grey Cup, which we won. And then, of course, when I was with Baltimore, he kicked the winning field goal the last play of the game. So he's been a dramatic player every time he's been in the Grey Cup.
Next week, when BC travels to Edmonton, you could be on the sidelines for Louis' final home game or final game period. What's that going to be like?
Well, you know, during the game we won't think very much about it because he'll be out competing and so will we. But it's a pleasure for me to be here tonight for his final game in BC Place, and next week I look forward to watching him play again.
Don, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John?
Well, maybe watching him playing will be a little different story next week if Louis gets to line up for a field goal to win it in Edmonton.
Doug Nussmeier in at quarterback. We talked about the fact that he probably will play the full second half. Well, it was sooner than that. He's going to probably play the rest of the game. Damon Allen will rest on the sideline, plays a quarter and a little bit. Keeps that edge, puts the ball cap on, and that'll be it for Damon Allen. He'll start mentally preparing right now for Don Matthews and the Edmonton Eskimos. And have a chance to enjoy Louis night.
Yeah, he'll hang around with Louis on the sidelines and chat about old times for a bit. Nussmeier and the Lions looking at second down less than a yard, and it's easily converted there. Damon Allen in his 16th CFL season is 5th with the BC Lions, hitting on an incredible 61.7% of his passes.
Yeah, he's having a tremendous year, and what a game it was a week ago.
Last week, he was good on 74%. 26 of 35, 345 yards.
Of course, the nominee for outstanding player for the BC Lions.
Sean Millington straight ahead. He's got 4, maybe 5 yards. Another part of the BC story, 48 yards shy of 1,000, which would really make him excited about this season. Being away from the Lions for a couple of years, things didn't quite go as well as Sean Millington would have liked, with stops in Edmonton and Winnipeg.
You see him down there as the nominee for outstanding Canadian from the BC Lions, Sean Millington. Greg Frere's a great season. Free safety for the Calgary Stampeders.
Nussmeier took a little too long on 2nd and 5.
Well, Nussmeier,
Non-count violation. BC number 13.
well, Doug Nussmeier gets a chance to get some playing time, and it could be critical playing time if something should happen to Damon Allen in the first part of the game next week in Commonwealth Stadium. Played well when he's come in relief, but he's going to get a couple of time counts when he doesn't get as much playing time as the starter, no question.
So it's back to 2nd and long, 2nd and just under 10 yards. Nussmeier over the middle, has Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. Cunningham spun, and I think he's a little shy of the first down as he tried to elude a tackle down there. Nate Terry. So we'll see where they spot the ball. It is about a yard shy.
You know, one of the things that a lot of people have not talked about in the backup quarterback with Doug Nussmeier is his ability to move around in the pocket and his ability to scramble. It's a very good running quarterback. Something that a lot of people don't realize when they look at him. They consider him, because of his size and the way he lines up, consider him a drop back passer. But he has close to a 10-yard rushing average this year, 9.1.
How close is it?
Say about
Well,
a yard.
that close, yeah. Didn't we say about a yard?
About a yard, yeah. I think back to what Don Matthews said about Louis Pasaglia in the '85 Grey Cup when he took off on that punt, and in '94, it really is a great illustration of how well-rounded Louis Pasaglia has been as an athlete, not just a kicker. You know, in '85, he makes an athletic play in a huge game and then has nerves of steel in '94 with no time on the clock, kicking the game-winning field goal with the entire country watching.
Yeah, and right here on home turf.
On home turf. You can't get much more pressure than that, but he's been able to cope with it for 25 years, which is remarkable.
Well, a great athlete with natural ability. He's had a great run. Lions looking at 3rd down. Less than a yard to go. Nussmeier takes it deep for Sean Millington. A little extra effort, and Millington comes up with a 1st down.
You know, he didn't get the handoff clean. He had to sort of adjust the football as he was hitting the line of scrimmage, and it kind of slowed him down, but his great strength earned him the 1st down. Watch, he doesn't get it really clean. It's kind of low in his hip, and as he adjusts the football, he slows his feet. But then once he makes contact, then he just keeps those legs driving and picks up the 1st down with sheer power.
That's why they call him the Diesel, I suppose. Lions drive continues. Saskatchewan has the lead at 18-7. Millington again. Nice cut, nice run. 1st down, BC.
Interesting formation for the BC Lions. Again, something they haven't shown a lot of throughout this football season, and it's again probably to show Don Matthews something else. Put all the receivers to one side of the field, and then they have on the backside they have Robert Drummond right here. Drummond's going to set up a block as basically lined up as a tight end. That's a formation the Lions haven't run all year long.
Millington has 13 more, and the Lions are set up at the Saskatchewan 35. Nussmeier deep drop, and he missed Jackson, who was looking for a penalty down there.
Oh, sure was.
He won't get it.
Well, likely should get it. There was some holding going on right across the middle of the field.
No flag.
I thought it was Travis Smith.
Nussmeier was steamed about it, too.
Well, right across the middle is where Alfred Jackson's going to come across. See that? Travis Smith gives him a shot and takes him out of his lane. That's definitely pass interference. He got away with one.
2nd and 10 Lions.
You can defend your ground as long as the receiver's in front of you.
Nussmeier got a little heat. Jackson has to wait for this one. Comes back to make the catch. 1st down, BC. Inside the 10, and that one stayed up there for a while. Nussmeier down on the turf. He got hammered.
Took a big hit. And that's why that ball fluttered. Amazing that he's even getting up, and he's trying to catch his wind because he got the wind knocked out of him. Look at the pressure that he's going to, the heat that he takes and the hit that he takes. Look at that. Down he goes, Demetrius Maxey right in the chest plate and drives him to the turf. That ball flutters, but hey, good adjustment on the open field by Alfred Jackson to come back to that football.
It was a little wounded coming down, but this duck lands in Alfred Jackson's arm.
Well, yeah, you could read J5V on the side of that ball as it was flying through the air.
27 yards to gain. The Lions are set up inside the Saskatchewan 10. On 1st and goal from the Riders 8, Millington gets halfway there.
John, this is one of the reasons that a lot of Doug Nussmeier's teammates really love this guy, especially the offensive line. The offensive line here in BC love Doug Nussmeier because he's like an offensive lineman with his mentality. And after that big hit from Demetrius Maxey, he shook it off in time that the training staff didn't come out on the field, because if they do, he has to go out for 3 plays. Well, he doesn't want to go out. He shook it off and got back in there.
Millington has 9 carries for 43 yards, so he's 5 short of 1,000, Glenn.
I mean, this is a big hit he takes from Demetrius Maxey. I mean, he gets slammed right down to the ground, has the wind knocked out of him, and doesn't have much time, just 20 seconds to get back in the huddle.
2nd and goal to go, Lions at the Saskatchewan 3. Millington again, and no way this time.
Colin Scribner stuffed that hole. Everybody on the line of scrimmage. The Lions have their elephants in, or their big team. And really, it was a case of Saskatchewan defensive line just getting a little lower.
This might make Lions fans happy, however,
That's
because
right.
Lou Pasaglia gets to kick a field goal, perhaps. They gave it a second thought, but now they've called for number 5, Lou Pasaglia. What a story he's been this season in the field goal kicking department. 38 of 42, 90.5%. The record for field goals through a season held by your old pal Dave Ridgway at 90.6%.
So basically,
Lou Pasaglia is over that now.
Now basically, if he's perfect tonight, he breaks the record.
He does. It's Lou's night in Vancouver. Stadium at BC Place. Out to celebrate 25 years of watching Lou Pasaglia.
Hey, first I'd like to say hi to everybody out in BC. My first home in the CFL. Really miss it out there. Vancouver's a beautiful city. Louis, you're getting old. No, you're not getting old. You are old.
Yeah,
all right,
he is old.
Louis. First field goal I ever held for in a game was Louis Pasaglia. Last play of the game against Hamilton to win the ball game. First time I ever did it live. Louis, you deserve to retire, all right? You've worked hard enough over the years. The records stand for themselves. I let these people know about you all the time down here. So congratulations on the unbelievable career. You played longer than most of these guys. You've been playing longer than these kids have been alive. So congratulations, great career. Way to go, Louis. I miss you.
Yeah, that's true. Longer than a few members of the BC Lions have been around.
Yeah, no question. Had 11 holders in 25 years, and I asked Louis which was his favorite. He said, no way. There is no way I'm picking one out.
And he doesn't pick a favorite coach from the list either.
No.
Zarka for Saskatchewan with 3 minutes to go. In the opening half, Zarka will have a Saskatchewan first down. It's the Roughriders on top of the Lions, 18-10 on CFL Live in Vancouver. At the half with Duthie and Schultz and Dunnigan and Tillman. Tillman and Dunnigan had a little bit to do with Louis' career along the way. Eric was here as the general manager for that 94 Grey Cup team.
Well, Matt Dunnigan was not one of his holders.
Didn't hold?
No.
And Chris doesn't like kickers at all, so. Marvin Graves stands in and fires for farthing, a one-hopper.
You know, it's interesting, though, and a lot of people say that about kickers, and Al Wilson was one of the guys that took Louis Pasaglia under his arm when he was, and under his wing when he was in his first year in '76 in training camp with the BC Lions. And Al Wilson this week in the newspaper said, you know what? The best compliment I can give my buddy Louis Pasaglia is to say he was a real football player. And he said, but don't tell him I said that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's talking to a reporter.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the Louis combination for a long time. Al Wilson at center.
Absolutely.
Graves pumps once and fires just a little too far for the cha-ching.
Dylan Ching. Right in that danger zone. Although he wasn't going to get hit, free safety Mike Crum had vacated the area. It was a tough catch. It was behind him a little bit. Marvin Graves knows it. That's why he was shaking his head.
So McCallum is in, ready to punt from the Saskatchewan 35. And Fletcher is deep for the BC Lions. Mike Fletcher standing back inside the 20. Not deep, bouncing out. There will be no return. All kinds of celebrities along the sidelines on Lou's night. Farhan.
John, whenever Louis Pasaglia is asked about his favorite coaches, this man is always near the top of the list, Dave Ritchie. Dave, can you talk about your relationship with Louis?
I think it was great. I told Louis one time that he could play as long as I coached him. And as far as I was concerned, he could play until George Blanda, his age, was 50. And Louis is getting close to that now, what, 46, 47? And, you know, he's just a great great player. He's a great ambassador, and for the fans of Vancouver, it's been a wonderful 25 years, I believe. And when you think of a guy playing for one team for 25 years, it's hard to imagine. And you know, Louis such an ambassador, and you know when he goes out there to kick, as he did in 97 or 94, he's going to put it through the goalpost. Game's over.
Coach, we also want to congratulate you for last night. Can you look ahead to next week?
Well, we're going to tough chore. We got to go into Hamilton, and our players responded real well last night, and they've been doing it for most of the year. It's just scoreboard hasn't read the right way most of the time, but they got the game they needed, and now it's what, a 3-game tournament, 1 game at a time, and we're going to go into Hamilton and do the best we can.
Coach, thanks for your time. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Interesting, when Richie had the Lions and won the Grey Cup in '94, he was in 3rd place in the West and won the 3 games he had to win to get to the Grey Cup.
No question about it. And it's going to be an interesting game in Hamilton next week, as Winnipeg will travel over to Hamilton and take on a struggling Ticat team. They play, of course, tomorrow against Calgary, and desperately need to win to get their confidence back, I think.
Yeah, Ticats have really been in a tailspin. And of course, the Lions will be at Commonwealth in Edmonton, second half of that semifinal doubleheader next Sunday afternoon, with the Stampeders waiting the Western semifinal winner, and those Alouettes waiting the Eastern semifinal winner 2 weeks from Sunday. Nussmeier from the shotgun on 1st down. Oh, and Alfred Jackson had it in his mitts and let it get away.
Now that would have been field goal range. That's why Lou is looking on. He just turned his head just before the ball arrived. It happens to the best of them. Doug Nussmeier does a nice job of, he tried to get the shovel pass inside to Sean Millington, and that was covered, so he hung on to the football, and you saw how Alfred Jackson just turned his head up the field before the ball arrived. It's a slight slip in concentration at the wrong time.
2nd and 10. Nussmeier gets it away for Millington. Head of steam here. Millington tries to turn the corner. He'll have the 1st down, and this BC drive will continue.
Looks like Doug Nussmeier wants to get up there and start to call some plays on the line of scrimmage. Minute 41 left. He'd like to get this one in the end zone, obviously. Little screen pass set up and a nice block downfield by Jamie Terrace, the center. If you can't make that first block, that play doesn't work. Terrace makes it.
Sean Millington 5 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing on the season, and this could be it. He's over 1,000. Sean Millington.
Well, Alfred Jackson, 1 play, went over 1,000 receiving, and now Sean Millington rushing the football over 1,000. You throw in his close to 600 yards catching the football by the time it's all over, and that's a darn good season for Sean Millington. 1,600 yards from the line of scrimmage, and he gets an ovation.
Yeah, there's the round of applause for Millington, who's back home where he belongs in so many ways in BC. This Lion drive continues. 2nd down and less than a yard to go. Easily converted there. Millington coming into the game 1,469 all-purpose yards.
Well, you look at the numbers, he over 1,000 yards tonight, but I think what's most impressive is his average. Close to 7 yards rushing the football. I mean, that is very impressive for a running back. You usually hear that kind of average when you think of running from quarterbacks who are running quarterbacks, but look at that compared to a guy like Mike Pringle at 5.5. That's pretty impressive. Of course, Mike Pringle leads the league with over 1,700 yards rushing.
His running mate Robert Drummond, number 29, has 1,575 all-purpose yards.
Of course, you got the running ability of Damon Allen to mix into the offensive game plan.
This drive continues for BC on a catch by Jimmy Cunningham. Allen is on the list as the #1 rushing quarterback in the history of the CFL, and he's got a few running backs in his sights all of a sudden. Johnny Bright not that far away, but Mike Pringle is going to keep running, so that's not going to be easy. Missed this opportunity. Nussmeier had the opportunity, completed the pass, but out of bounds. High snap.
Well, I'm not so sure that Doug Nussmeier wasn't just trying to throw that one out of bounds and save the huge loss, but Jackson ran under it. Got it about 2 yards out of bounds. He started looking down the coverage. A lot of times people say this is the downside of the shotgun formation. The upside is you're back off the line of scrimmage, and it usually buys you a couple more seconds. The downside is you have to take your eyes off the secondary and off the reading the defense to catch the football. That time Doug Nussmeier looked down the field, and you see how far Alfred Jackson was out of bounds.
This will be 2nd and 10. Lions at the Riders' 24-yard line. Into the final 40 seconds of the opening half. Nussmeier has to get this one away, and does. Dennis Montana down inside the 11. Do you go for the touchdown or settle for the field goal?
Wow, look, this is a scrambling ability of Doug Nussmeier to get outside. You know, Montana's going to come all the way across the field. It looks like Alfred Jackson and Montana were really, one of the two were wrong when they started that pattern. I think Alfred Jackson adjusted, went down the seam. But look at the scrambling ability of Doug Nussmeier. This is what we were talking about early. Close to a 10-yard average running the football. He bought time on his own to get that one off.
Close enough to measure, and can't see from our angle very clearly. Looks like
an inch.
Couple of links of the chain. You're right.
They'll go for that. I asked, sort of jokingly, asked Steve Barato today, so if you get down in field goal range, just because it's Louis' night, do you kick field goals on 1st and 2nd down once you get down in for the close ones? He's like, no, we want to win the game.
Well, he also said if he could talk Danny Barrett into it, he might put Louis out in formation there.
Yeah,
throw
wide
the
receiver.
ball.
That's right. But he said, you know, Danny's got to make sure that he tells his defensive backs, let's just let him go. Let him go free. I don't think that's going to happen either.
Don't want to get number 5 hurt on his night. Nussmeier straight ahead, and he'll have the first down.
Well, it looked like he was going to run in the end zone. I mean, he just got in behind the right side of that offensive line and took about 4 or 5 steps. Watch the great surge from the right side of the line. He just 1, 2, 3. Well, no one's getting me. I just keep going. He got about 5 yards on that.
Yeah, he was only looking for a yard, and while he was standing, he still kept going for it. Nussmeier here. Missed Jimmy Cunningham.
Arkel Truluck made the play. He didn't buy the play action. And that forced the quick throw by Doug Nussmeier.
Stadium clock is acting up here, so I can't tell you exactly how much time is left. Now they've put it back up. 20 seconds.
See the play action there. Then the first part of this game, Truluck was going down inside to try and stop Sean Millington. This time he keeps his containment, forces a quick throw, and that's why it doesn't work out for Jimmy Cunningham.
Nussmeier's put up some good numbers since taking over for Damon Allen, who is resting on the sidelines. 7 of 11 for 105 yards. Looks for the touchdown here and can't get it. 2 Riders collide in coverage.
Omar Morgan came and dropped off his man, which was Dennis Montana, to come up and help out his buddy, the halfback. I believe it was Nate Terry. See Morgan, number 3, see him drop his guy and come up out of the coverage. Dennis Montana's wide open. He sees the ball coming to the outside to Cunningham, decides I'll come up and help out my friends, and makes a pretty good play on the football.
Yeah, Morgan put a pretty good hit on Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. Lion fans got what they wanted here. No touchdown. Chance for a field goal for Lou Pasaglia. He's 2 for 2 tonight. A couple of chip shots. That one in particular, but Lou is 2 for 2 on the evening in field goals. 1 field goal without a miss would set a single season record established by Dave Ridgway, 90.6% efficiency. So Louis is over that right now.
Stays perfect. He's got the record. And
Red Eye tonight, partner, will be in Hamilton at Iverwin tomorrow. Stampeders, Tiger Cats, the Grey Cup rematch. from 1999. Do you think it'll be a Grey Cup preview?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say that. I don't think so. You know Montreal Alouettes are listening.
Yeah, and also the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And the Edmonton Eskimos. And they're
now
saying,
the Blue Bombers.
You say that's going to be a rematch, and I've got a word or two for you when you arrive in the city.
The only place you're safe is in BC because we're blacked out here tonight.
That's right. No, I'll just stay on the fence and go enjoy both those games in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you're good there. You're comfortable there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll just stay right on the fence. I'm neutral.
Davis has carried a couple of times for the Riders in the final few seconds of the opening half, and that should be it. No penalty markers down, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders have the lead by 5 on the BC Lions.
1 half to go in Louis Passaglia's great career.
Now he's going to play next week. Louis Pasaglia.
Well,
he's going to play in Edmonton.
Regular season.
It's his final game at home at BC Place. I mean, he might even be at the Grey Cup.
Could be.
There's still a chance. I'm saying there's still a chance. It's the CFL Live on Lou's night here at BC Place.
The CFL Live on TSN at the half.
Yeah, forget these field goals. Let's get Louis a touchdown. Send him deep. Run him up the middle. Do something like that. Riders leading this one. And Riders only won 3 games all of last year. If they do this one, they'll have doubled the total. And that's a pretty good pace. Double the total again. They'll have 12 next year. Baby steps, and they're doing a decent job.
Well, you call it baby steps. I call it steps in the right direction. I think you really have to credit these Riders. They showed up to play tonight. Teams of lesser character, hey, they would have already packed and been thinking about going back home for the offseason. And another thing, I think Schulte made a great point. It's good to see Marvin Graves playing so well. Going into training camp next year, this combination at quarterback of Henry Burris and Marvin Graves, I tell you what, it's not a bad one, Chris.
Hey, you know, the Riders are playing well tonight, but so are the BC Lions. I want to show you a couple of plays because earlier we talked about previous games where BC dominated the line of scrimmage and where they did a great job of maintaining blocks. Watch this. Sean Millington, who has 1,000 yards right there. He is 4 yards into the second level, the linebacker level. Nobody's touched him. Same drive, just a few plays later, same situation. Right in between those 2 A-gaps, the guards and the centers moving people off the line of scrimmage. I think this bodes well for this football team because they can be physical when they want to, and you have to if you're going to beat Edmonton in Edmonton.
This game is unfolding just like General Manager Adam Rita thought it would for the BC Lions. Alfred Jackson's got his 1,000 yards receiving. Sean Millington's gone over 1,000. The only thing that hasn't unfolded the way that they planned was Damon reaching the 5,000-yard mark. But, hey, Damon had his day in the sun last week when he passed Ronnie Lancaster's unsurmountable record. But you look at also good things happening for the BC Lions. Dennis Montana getting to play. Adam Rita loves this kid, expects to see him play well tonight. And we talked about Damon Cogdell, a run stopper in the middle. This guy's getting some valuable experience saying, look, I can play. I want to be a BC Lion next year.
And once again, the Riders trying to complete the trifecta of ruining retirement parties. They ruined pinballs. They ruined gizmos. And tonight they are leading in Louis' last night. But this is a tight one at the break. We're headed to the third quarter. Davis and the Riders stretching out a slim lead. Lots more ahead. Well, don't tell this panel this game means nothing. The only race left in the CFL right here. It's been close all season long between all 4. Everybody's had a shot at the lead, but it looks like the title will be decided. The final game, Calgary-Hamilton, goes tomorrow. Matt and I tied for the lead, and the other guys, like good Olympians, just trying to get on the podium. How are you going to go home to Valdosta, Georgia, if you lose to some weaselly little 160-pound guy who never played beyond high school?
Looks it looks like Kermit the Frog and combs his hair with a rock.
I see, that was unnecessary, but...
Oh, dude, you've been taking unnecessary shots at us all year.
All right, but anyway.
I'm not going to do that. James, we're going to arm wrestle, win or lose, come Sunday, and then we're going to take the cake. There we go.
Then I'm Calgary better win because
work?
I have no shot in an arm wrestle unless I can nominate Schulte for me. Now, I have to give you credit. You didn't even really go with the teams you thought you would win this weekend. You just went with the teams that were exact opposite of me, so you had a shot.
Hey, listen, I have to admit, I was trying to catch up to you based on the fact that I really, you know, it's 17th, 18th game of the year, right? You're 4 ahead of me, so I had to do something dramatic, so I took the opposite.
Now, the GMs, of course, are supposed to be the smart guys, right, in this whole thing.
Know the inner workings of the game.
Yeah, know the inner workings. They're supposed to have the advantage in this, and yet you, and the one thing I could say, you were brave a lot of weeks. You took a lot of chances, picked more underdogs, I think, than the rest of us. So, well, you're kind of brave or kind of dumb, depending on how you look at it, right?
I'm afraid the emphasis should be on the latter, dumb. And the thing makes it even worse is that thanks to John Heward, we had 7 gimmies along the way, so the percentages are even worse than they should be. You know, I felt bad a couple weeks ago. I had a 1-3 weekend, and I go home and I turn on CBS and I see Mike Ditka going head-to-head with an elephant. Here Mike Ditka is a Hall of Famer, and he's at less than 40%. So Schulte and I at least can take some consolation.
What are you comparing me to here?
An inanimate object.
Yeah, elephants, monkeys, whatever.
I think
point is, I got lucky, basically. I only watch you guys. You know, what I would do is just pick my favorite YouTube picks. I've copied you guys all year long.
And you've got Calgary, and I've got Hamilton.
Down to that, baby. Mano a mano.
Come on, Sudsy.
We do have another half of our football game coming up. Alfred Jackson and company down by 5 at the break on Louis night in BC. Kermit the Frog here. Man, that was low. And your hair's the same as mine anyway. Well, numbers at the half. What?
I admire you.
Okay, thank you.
You're my
numbers
hero.
at the half. Pretty even, at least statistically. Lots of passing yardage for BC Lions, 173 yards total, but almost even in net yards. And the number you don't see up there, just at the bottom actually, 2 field goals for Louis Pasaglia. Our Farhan Lalji spoke with Louis.
Well, we're here with the man of the afternoon or the man of the evening, Louis Pasaglia. Louis, first of all, tell me what went through your mind during that introduction.
I just thought about the first day I came out of that tunnel in Empire Stadium. The feeling was the same. I mean, I was trying to hide in that tunnel when I heard my name being called out, and I could see the crowd starting to rise up and stuff, and it was a tremendous feeling, and I just hope we can give them something to be happy with at the end of the game.
What's it like to have all of your friends, family, former coaches here tonight?
Oh, it's just, I mean, you know, out there on the field today when the opening kickoff, the ceremonies for the opening kickoff were there, I had my grade 8 coach all the way up to all the coaches I had, most of the coaches I had here during my career. It was I said, wow, you know, hadn't seen some of those guys for a long time, but you know, the whole week's been great. The support of the community, support across Canada has been tremendous, and the support of the media, you know, it's been fun talking to you guys, talking to everyone, and listening to the stories they had of my career and this organization's career, and I'm glad I'm going out this way rather than waiting until sometime in the cold of winter when you're all by yourself.
Louis, thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half.
Right, thanks.
Definitely a class guy, and don't forget, we will stick around at the end of the game for the post-game celebration to honor Louis Pasaglia. And let's talk a little bit about the second half in this one. And tough situation, you know, Saskatchewan wants to win the game. You know, BC just wants to stay healthy. What do you do?
Well, I also think you want to see both of these quarterbacks play well. I mean, Marvin Graves, he should have a good second half as compared to the first. And also Doug Nussmeier, you want to see him play some good football. And I think the veteran player is the key component. Don't watch the clock. We know it's the last half of the 18th game. Keep your focus on the football field. When you start watching the clock, that's when you get hurt, Matty. Oh, God, here we go.
It's Nussmeier, Schulte.
Sorry, man.
Hey, I'm looking forward to watching this kid play in the second half, too. He's going out there trying to prove himself, get a look-see, possibly move down the road to start for some other team, because this guy has potential to start in this league. He's got a strong arm. He moves around well. I'm looking forward to the second half, seeing him connect with Montana, because he's trying to prove himself, get a look-see. A lot of things going on here. A fine balance. You're trying to win a football game, keep your players healthy, get some young guys some opportunity. All's working out well so far.
Yeah, it is. You know, BC wants to win the football game, but like you say, they want to stay healthy. And, you know, I like BC's chances as they go into the playoffs, whether they win or lose or not. I mean, I see Damon Allen playing as well as he's ever played. They've got big, powerful backs in Drummond and Millington. You want to win, but you want to stay healthy. If BC gets out healthy, they got a chance to make some noise these next few weeks.
Good thing it's our second last game of the year, because I'm quickly losing control in here. Halloween was a few days ago, but yes, the most popular costume in Vancouver would be, who else? Louis. It's pretty good, too. I don't know about this, sweatpants or what, but second half is next on Louis night.
CFL football on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate Air Cleaning Filters. Breathe the difference.
Congratulations, Louis, on your incredible career in the CFL. My idol in hockey growing up was Gordie Howe. To me, you're the Gordie Howe of the CFL. Playing 25 years and maintaining such a high level of skill, dedication shows what a great athlete you have been. From my earliest hockey playing days in Edmonton to my CFL ownership days in Toronto, I was able to see what a huge fan favorite you were across the country and how you always carried yourself in a classy manner. Good luck to you and your family in the future.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Gretz hasn't been close to the Gillette for a while, I see. Remember breakfast here in Vancouver when Gretz came and sat down?
Yeah. Well,
and he sat with us for an hour and a half. We talked nothing but football, and you never said a word.
Well, he's my hero. He is definitely.
Never said a word.
Well, I had a lot I wanted to say. I just had trouble getting it out.
Yeah, it was just the funny look on your face with your mouth open for that long.
It's never happened to me with anybody else but Wayne Gretzky. He's one of my heroes.
Well, and Lou Passaglia is a hero to an awful lot of people in Canadian football, particularly in Vancouver and British Columbia, with all of the numbers that he has put up during this remarkable 25-year career. No one will ever top that.
Yeah, and you throw in the fact that he's been a tremendous punter throughout his career as well. In fact, in 1983, the CFL record for punting average in a season when he averaged 50 yards a kick that year.
133,614 punting yards in his career. That's enough to get you from here to Whistler.
It was always the great plays he made from the punt formation, too. He's rushed for close to 200 yards or over 200 yards in his career. And, of course, passed for close to 500. You know, and that's primarily out of the punt formation. He had an uncanny knack to be able to know when the pressure was coming, when the block or the kick was going to be blocked, avoid the pressure and pick up the first down. I know playing against Louis Passaglia for 11 years, I was always on that punt return team. And it was always told to us and taught to us that you have to make sure that Louis Passaglia kicks the football. We had to send 2 players at him all the time to guarantee that he punted it, because if you bailed out of there, he's such a great athlete, he would see it and he would take off running and get the first down on you.
Well, it's an emotional night in Vancouver, no question about it. We saw Louis Passaglia before the game and had a brief chat, and then saw him in the tunnel waiting to be introduced, and you could tell that it was a tough time for him in some ways. I mean, a joyous time for what he's accomplished, but certainly an emotional evening. Second half is underway with Jimmy the Jet Cunningham returning for the Lions out near the 33. 10-yard return on a 40-yard kickoff.
You know, and it is mixed emotions, I think, for a lot of Canadian Football League fans across the country, because you're sad because one of the greatest ever kicker in Canadian football is calling it quits at the end of the season, but also celebrating a tremendous career, 25 years in the league.
Louis had a lot of shoes on tonight. He's been changing the Adidas about every second time the ball changes hands out there. And I guess those shoes will be going as souvenirs to auctions and raising a little money for charity along the way. Sean Millington. Oh, Simon Buffo, correction on that. He slides into the backfield.
Yeah, some of the backups are going to get a chance to play in the second half. Simon Buffo is one. They'll rest Sean Millington, make sure he's ready for that playoff game. But yeah, you mentioned the community work from Louis Passaglia. I mean, that's something that, you know, we haven't really even talked about, and that's something that he takes great pride in and has throughout his career. Talked to thousands of kids in this community.
Buffo picks up 17 yards, another first down, and now he tries the other side.
It's nice to have a guy backing up Sean Millington that can get it done. Simon Buffo getting a chance to play a little bit here tonight. He's had to work on his blocking in his 3 years with the BC Lions. That's been something that he's improved steadily as years go by.
Nussmeier, far side, has Jackson, and they say he stayed in bounds. Alfred Jackson with the catch. He's had a pretty nice night. His first big catch of the evening put him over the 1,000-yard mark, a 65-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and here's a guy again who's really played his best football in the last 4 or 5 games. In fact, the BC Lions have been trying to feature Alfred Jackson all season long. They struggled with it early, but now they move him around. They put him inside the formation at slot back. Sometimes he'll go back out to wide receiver just to get him the ball as much as they can.
This time the Lions with 3 receivers to the far side, and they keep it on the ground with Buffo again for a couple of yards. Damon Allen began the football game. Nussmeier came in partway through the first half, and Allen is relaxing and enjoying himself on the sidelines. One lovely touchdown toss to the aforementioned Alfred Jackson for 65 yards.
Well, that started the game off.
Yeah, and it looks like Damon is ready for the playoffs next week in Edmonton.
And that was the banner they dropped last week when he broke Ron Lancaster's record.
Nussmeier has room to run to the far side, cuts it back in, and he'll be a little shy of the first down.
You don't often see a hook slide from Doug Nussmeier. He gets out in the open field. He tries to make you miss, and he'll put his head down and try and deliver a blow rather than always take the blows when you're running in the open field. And you know when the quarterback gets out there, the defenders can't wait to get up and lay a lick on him. But Nussmeier will take it.
9-yard gain, but it's third down. 1 yard to go, and the Lions look like they'll take a chance on this one. Set up inside the Saskatchewan 40-yard line at the 39. Nussmeier himself straight ahead, first down, because there are no flags anywhere.
Well, it's not as much of a gamble when you think back to the first half when he did that. Had about 3 inches to go and ran about 5 yards behind his offensive line. Steve Dorado remembers that and says, hey, if we can get 5 yards on a quarterback sneak, it's no problem to gamble on 3rd and 1. Defense is a concern for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Defensive side of the football is something they continue to work on and have to work on for next season. It's a team that ranked 8th in the league against the run, 7th against the pass.
But they've kept the secondary together for quite a bit of time now. Nussmeier is wrapped up and fired to the ground for an 8-yard loss.
Yeah, the exception to the rule is the guy who just sacked him, Demetrius Maxey.
Yeah, well, Maxey has experience, and they've really found a great player in linebacker George White.
Well, that sack for Demetrius Maxey, his 11th on the season, that ties a personal best for him. One more, and he has his best ever season in the sack department. So, yeah, they're getting the leadership from Demetrius Maxey, no question. Colin Scribner has played well. I still think they're looking for a dominant rush end off the edge. I don't know that Arkel Truluk has had the season that they expected out of him with just 1 sack coming into this game.
After the sack, it's 2nd and 16. Nussmeier has some open territory and likes to run.
Oh, look at
nice one here. He'll have the first down.
Reminds me a little bit of one of our buddies back in the studio, Matt Dunnigan, when he runs in the open field. He accelerates and he attacks. He doesn't run to find an open area to slide down. He runs to go hit somebody. And you saw the straight arm from Doug Nussmeier in the open field. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Matt Dunnigan when he gets out there. Watch him accelerate. Now he knows he wants to run. No hook slide from him. In fact, he turns out and gives a stiff arm to the leading tackler in CFL.
Dunnigan was a lot faster, though.
Well, yeah, no question about that.
6 carries, 38 yards for Nussmeier. This Lion drive continues. Simon Buffo, and he gets down to about the 20-yard line off the left side, in behind Harden and Perez.
Hey, what kind of angle are you guys playing out there?
A very interesting matchup when you think to next week. Western semifinal versus the Edmonton Eskimos and this BC Lion team playing their best football offensively the last 4 weeks as BC Lions. Defensively, still a question mark.
Lions do look to have David Benefield and Herman Smith back in their lineup next week. On defense, Nussmeier, the touchdown toss is on the money. Alfred Jackson. That was a lovely pass from Nussmeier to Alfred Jackson.
little timing down just in case they need him next week. It was a nice throw, and it was a good job of throwing off Marcus McDavid, the safety, by looking him off. Marcus McDavid is really the only player. See how he's looking this way, then goes back to the seam the other way. Right down that seam, Marcus McDavid, see how late he is getting over?
Lions have the lead, and Lou Pasaglia adds one more to the BC total.
Antoine Hunter, the halfback, looked right at Marcus McDavid after the throw and said, "Hey, where's my help?"
Beautiful toss, Doug Nussmeier for the touchdown to Alfred Jackson. The Lions in the lead, 20-18.
Swipe your club card at 6.
Well, the Lions have the lead on the Saskatchewan Roughriders after a sluggish start at times. Doug Nussmeier engineered a very impressive drive and finished it off with a toss to Alfred Jackson.
Well, I was impressed with the running ability of Doug Nussmeier on the drive.
Ben Ross on the return for Saskatchewan out near the 35.
A drive into double figures when you have 11 plays. Took 6 minutes. The Jackson catch was the scoring play, but that's the running ability of Doug Nussmeier. 19 yards, but they were key yards. He looks off. Safety Marcus McDavid goes back to the backside seam. It's under the category of ugly but effective. The pass was right on the money. A little wobbly, though.
Yeah, I didn't look at it as being that wobbly in real motion, but you slow it down, and it was quacking a little bit down there.
Little NCAA wobble on it.
It's Louis Knights, a final game for Lou Pasaglia at BC Place Stadium. We'll take a timeout on CFL Live. Alfred Jackson, number 7 for the Lions, has 2 touchdown passes tonight, including one from number 9 for 65 yards. And then last week, they got together.
This will be the trivia question. When Damon Allen broke Ron Lancaster's record, who did he throw to?
Lucky number 7, Alfred Jackson in the end zone, 45-yard reception. Touchdown, Damon Allen, and the all-time record for yards passing in Canadian football. Davis somehow escaped from the first pursuit of the BC Lions. Not much room after he did get free, however. He ran to the sideline.
Damon Allen a chance to sign some autographs over there on the sideline and just enjoy the rest of this football game.
Ron Lancaster's record, 50,535, looked really unbeatable for so many years. Damon Allen, in his 16th CFL season, got there more quickly than Lancaster did by 3 years. Marvin Graves on target. Big gain here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders out to the 50 on Curtis Marsh.
What a move by Curtis Marsh. I mean, really turned Central McClellan all around and confused him to a point where he was about 5 yards away from Marsh. Marsh is going to end up running a curl to the right of your screen. 34, Central McClellan is the guy responsible for him. Look at this. That's McClellan way over to the right, about 5-6 yards away from him.
Curtis Marsh leading all receivers in the CFL, 1,546 yards.
Well, you see number 2 and 3 on that list.
Yeah, they both play for the same team, don't they?
Well, that's why the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and you look at number 2 and 3, and you see Milt Stegall and Robert Gordon. That's why the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are pretty excited about their chances when they travel to Hamilton next week.
Well, the Bombers expect to have Albert Johnson III back in the lineup. I should say hope to.
Yeah, they
do expect to have G. Roy Simon ready for next week in the Eastern semifinal.
I just talked to Dave Ritchie a moment ago, and he said that Albert Johnson is a question mark. He thinks he can play, though, and that's half the battle.
Riders on a little roll here, 2nd and 5, and that play is whistled down. Marvin Graves replaced Henry Burris for last week's game. Put up 54
Time
points.
count violation. Saskatchewan number 7. Still 2nd down.
And that was a bit of the crowd getting into this one. You know, With Henry Burris' contract situation, he's entering his option year, and some are saying he may get a shot in the window of opportunity to get a National Football League tryout. You know, they're trying to re-sign Henry Burris to a longer-term contract in Saskatchewan and hope to do that this offseason. But this is where Marvin Graves has a chance to show the organization that if that happens, hey, they've got a pretty good quarterback.
And here's Graves facing 2nd and 10. He's got time to rifle it in there. And he's just short of the first down on a connection with Eric Gulliford. Gulliford made the catch. We'll see where they spot the ball because he's not that far off the 40-yard line.
Another very good throw. Steps up strong and delivers a strike and doesn't have a whole lot of room to do it as Carl Kidd is breaking on that football in a hurry. You take a look at that offensive line in Saskatchewan and the stability they have up front. They're running back in Darren Davis. A couple of quarterbacks that can get the job done, and Marvin Graves and Henry Burris, and the future looks pretty bright.
A yard shy, the Riders go for it here on 3rd and 1, and that'll be a first down. Saskatchewan continues the drive inside the BC 40. What might have been, had the Hamilton Tiger Cats been able to come back last week here in BC against the Lions. They lost by 6 points.
Yeah. Well, then the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this game tonight would have had to beat the BC Lions by 19 points or more, and then they would have had the playoffs.
They would have had a shot at the playoffs.
That's how close they were, though, and Danny Barrett has done a tremendous job with this organization. You mentioned the problems he's had on defense, but he's stuck with a rookie secondary all season long. You know what? He went through some bumps and bruises because of it, but next year they'll be that much better. And that's how you build a team. Bring in people you believe in, bring in people with the athletic ability to play, and then let them learn the game. And the only way you can learn it is if you're on the field.
Riders with a first down at the BC 40. And this is one of the newcomers, Darren Davis, who has really made an impression. Playing in only his 12th game of the season. He's got a shot at 1,000 yards coming into the game tonight, 910.
Well, you got Curtis Marsh in that mix, and Darren Davis, like you just mentioned, Eric Gulliford. I mean, there's definitely some talent. They have a few holes to fill on defense. Great newcomer we've mentioned in defensive side, and George White.
From the shotgun. Graves, wide open target is Bendros, and he's grabbed by Chuck Levy. But not before the Riders get a first down. This is turning into a pretty exciting football game all of a sudden.
Well, Chuck Levy's got to watch the game film, and he's got to watch the way Eric Carter plays man-to-man. Chuck Levy's giving a lot of room to the Saskatchewan receivers. Eric Carter, on the other hand, on the other side, who's played corner his whole career, is really doing a number on that side of the field. But Chuck Levy's got to tighten up his coverage and start to challenge these Saskatchewan receivers.
Darren Davis is 5 yards away from his 1,000-yard season, into the end zone and tipped away. Derek Lewis was there along with Crum.
Oh, Mike Crum, he had the interception and just flat out dropped it. Marvin Graves did not see the free safety Mike Crum slide over there. He looked right at his receiver. Remember when Doug Nussmeier went down to Alfred Jackson, looked off Marcus McDavid? Well, that time Marvin Graves just locked into his receiver, and Crum should have had the pick.
Well, and you see Graves' reaction. He just couldn't look after he almost put it in his mitts.
Graves wants a timeout. Didn't like what he saw on defense.
Over to talk it over with Danny Barrett. Riders looking at a 2nd and 10 situation. They're down by 2 to the Lions at 20-18.
This is as loud as it's been in a long time here in BC Place Stadium.
We haven't had an official announcement on the crowd, but it's the best of the season for Lou's big night, without question. There were lineups for tickets outside the stadium at BC Place, and Louis might as well get him excited. Why not? They'll do anything he says in this town. Graves on 2nd and 10. touchdown toss. A beauty. Eric Gulliford, his second of the night.
Well, Marvin Graves had enough time in the pocket to allow Eric Gulliford to come all the way across the field, and that's why the play works. Look at this. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat, 4 steamboat, and then throws it. It's got lots of time in there. And Mike Crum, the safety, saw him make the great play earlier. See how he jumped that short route, number 37, and that allows Eric Gulliford room in behind. Carl Kidd just can't run that far across the field. It's too far to cover.
The Riders have the lead one more time on the BC Lions. It's the final night of the 2000 season. Eric Gulliford has a couple of touchdown receptions, and the Riders have a 5-point advantage. It's Louis' night in Vancouver. It's been a long time since he stayed at the YMCA.
Well, they should change it and say L-U-I, L-U-I.
There you go.
Okay.
That's hockey. Tuesday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific time with Darren DeFishin and Pierre Maguire. Lots more hockey on TSN. That's Hockey 2. Nightly. Jimmy Cunningham, good head of steam. Nice run on the return out across the 45 to the 47. Lou Passaglia's final game as a BC Lion on home turf here tonight, and lots of old friends have dropped by. Darren Farhan.
Well, John, we're here with two of the men who were there when it all began for Louis Passaglia. This is Lauren Davies, his first head coach at Simon Fraser University, and Al Blesh, his old high school coach at Notre Dame High School. Al, we'll start with you. You've known Louis since he was in the 5th grade. You started coaching him in the 9th grade. That makes you pretty old. What was he like back then?
He was great. He was a super athlete. Anything he did, basketball, soccer, football, just a super kid, great attitude. One of those people you always remember because he's fun to coach.
And Lauren, when he first came to Simon Fraser, that's when he really started to become a star. What was he like then?
Well, he was well prepared at Notre Dame, and we got the benefits of it. The fellows that worked with him there, Simon Fraser, Bob DeJulius, and the late Pokey Allen did a great job, and he's a great kid.
And he's a great ambassador for all of us here in Vancouver at the high school and college levels. What can you say about what he's meant to this community?
Well, what he is he's the absolute apex, the epitome of what you want to see a young person be, regardless if he's an athlete or not. Louis is a great person in the community. He's great for his team, he's great for his university, and he's great for his high school. So what more could you ask out of a young guy?
Gentlemen, thanks for everything you've done for Louis and football in this province. John?
Young guy. You guys are going back a couple of years. Louis 47, isn't he?
Well, those couple of guys that influenced Louis, obviously, in a great way as a young football player. You know, he actually got started playing organized football at 9 years old. Played flag football. He got run over in one game, and his mom decided she didn't want him to play football. She tried to talk him out of it, but she couldn't because she got him started. You know how he used to start? He used to play on the street. He told me he'd play with his brother Walter and all their buddies, and they didn't have a football. They couldn't afford a football at that time, so they used one of those old white bleach bottles. And they threw that around as a football. Now, Louis said, I didn't kick that. We used to play catch with that, and that's how he got started.
Nussmeier's in trouble here. George White in pursuit. Got it away somehow, but missed on the far side. While we were talking to Louis' coaches, Alfred Jackson missed an opportunity for a completion to Brett Anderson. Had Anderson wide open and just got a little bit excited.
Saskatchewan 72. First down.
Colin Scribner is charged with the infraction on Nussmeier. A late hit.
Well, that's a big one, too, because they were in punting situation. Lou was getting ready to punt that football. And then the late hit right there by Colin Scribner, and no question, that was a late hit and a good call. But it gives the BC Lions a first down.
And the Riders say the ball might have squirted loose. Well, that's one way to unscramble the pile. Now tippers flare and more flags fly.
Well, it's going to be a late hit inside by Corey Mantica. He saw Jackie Mitchell in there grabbing at somebody and gave him a two-hander. Jamie Terrace in there giving his point of view to the officials.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, BC 68. It was after the play, second down.
So there was no fumble. They ruled that he was down, but then Corey Mantica will get the late hit call, unnecessary roughness on Jackie Mitchell, and that'll push him back into a second and real long.
So fans will have to wait a little while longer to see Louis in action here.
You wonder if Steve Barato maybe put in a fake punt this week? Have Louis throw just one more before?
Wouldn't you love to see it?
Oh.
Nussmeier avoids the pressure and can't find Brett Anderson, who dove for the ball. Nussmeier ended up on the turf again.
Well, that was basically fast break from the BC Lion receiving corps. Everybody going deep. Brett Anderson couldn't run under it, but that was 5 receivers, and the play was straight down the field.
Gulliford drops back for Saskatchewan. Lou Pasaglia across his 30 to get this one away. On the dead run, Gulliford, decent return. He's out to the 45. Well, we'll continue our journey tomorrow to Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. Stamps, Tiger Cats, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific time. That will be the final game of the CFL's 2000 regular season.
I would think it's more of an important game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats than it is for the Calgary Stampeders.
Stampeders trying to recover from the loss of Rocco Romano, who won't be available. So they'll have to make some adjustments along that offensive line. What a great move by Davis.
Was it ever?
Didn't get very far, but it was sure an impressive change of directions.
Wow, it was. Kelly Lockbaum just I mean, he comes up and has him in the backfield. But watch the great shake and bake from Darren Davis. Look at this. Here's Lockbaum right here. He's going to step up and be right in Darren Davis' face. And then it's like this one. Now you see him. I got him. Whoa. Now I don't. Didn't even touch him. He wouldn't be down in touch football.
Marvin Graves looking for Dylan Ching.
Well, he had him. Had him wide open, but Cameron Legault got home in time to force an early throw. Marvin Graves rushed the throw because look at how wide open Dylan Ching is. No BC line close to him, but he has to rush it because of the pass rush. You can have a big mistake in the secondary covered up by a good pass rush.
Two and out for Saskatchewan. McCallum is in. Fletcher deep for BC. Bit of a charge on McCallum. Fletcher, not much running room to his right. Nice little move in there to grab about 8 on the return. Maybe a little bit more than that, in fact. Michael Fletcher on the final play of the third quarter. Saskatchewan Roughriders have the lead in the BC Lions, 25-20, 15 to go.
The CFL live on TSN at the quarter.
Pretty tight game, couple of fights, not bad for a supposed nothing game. Let's look ahead to next week, though, when these same BC Lions travel to Edmonton for the Western semifinal. And the matchup, well, Eskimos won the season series 2-1. And the last playoff meeting was a wild one back in Edmonton, 1998. The Eskimos winning that one 40-33. All right, gentlemen, how do you size this one up, Eric?
I think it's going to be a great game. I think the two keys are going to be big plays and field position. Both of these teams have big play quarterbacks. Nealon Green and Damon Allen, they can change field position. They can change a game on one play. And I think special teams are awfully important. Last night, we saw Edmonton give up 14 points because of special teams. But you know what? I like the BC Lions.
Okay, well, I think that both teams have had the opportunity to get exactly out of this week's game what they were looking for. An opportunity to play some players, get them some valuable playing time, like the backup quarterbacks, and certainly people like Cogdell, Montana. As far as Edmonton goes, we got to see Torrey Hunter testing his knee at the halfback position. We got to see Gerard in the D-line filling in for Doug Peterson. And then we got to see Dan Crowley get some valuable reps. I think things have panned out the way that these two teams want. I like the Eskimos because they're going to get healthy. They're going to get Peterson back, Ralph Staten back, Terry Ray back. They're just getting stronger and stronger. Hey, and they may get Donald Ashley back on offense too, Chris.
I like Edmonton too. I like Edmonton because of Don Matthews. He's seen every possible scenario, and I want to look a little bit at the bigger picture. Just because Calgary won the West, statistically, that does not mean you have the inside track to get to the Grey Cup. BC, Edmonton, Calgary, either one of these three teams can get there come November 26th.
All right, should be fun. And just a reminder, everybody, when this game is done, do not go to bed. Do not turn the channel just yet. We will have Louis' ceremony when the game is done. Back to BC Place we go.
Lou, it's been a pleasure the past 13 years of being sort of in your company and having a chance to play against you. And I remember my very first game as a Calgary Stampeder exhibition game in BC Place. You know, it was a wonderful experience, and seeing what you've been able to do this year by far, you know, goes a long, long ways to the type of individual you are, not only as a professional, but as a person as well. So I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. Keep kicking the ball straight, and best of luck to you.
Kickers from everywhere. I've got nice words for Lou Pasaglia in his 25th CFL season, his silver anniversary tour. And the final nights of football for Lou Pasaglia in Vancouver. He has 8 points on the evening, 2 field goals.
Here's what both teams are doing so far in the game. Pretty close when you look at the numbers, and that's why it's pretty close when you look at the scoreboard. 25 points separating the two teams, and of course all eyes on Louis Pasaglia, old number 5, but it wasn't always number 5.
No, he started out as number 18, didn't he?
That's
in
right.
His first tour of duty with BC in '76. Little shovel pass here ahead for Buffo, and well read by the Riders as 3 of them got there, including Trueluck and Henry.
Well, here's what happened. He was number 14 when he was in high school here in Vancouver at Notre Dame. So he wore number 14 as a quarterback. It was his favorite number. When he got to the pros in '76, he wanted number 14. Unfortunately, Joe Fortqueen, defensive back for the BC Lions at that time, wore 14. So Louis thought, well, let's see. If I take the 1 and I add it to the 4, I get 5. Give me number 5.
There you go, number 5. Every time he steps on the field, there's a round sound of Lou for Lou Pasaglia. It's been that way in Vancouver for a long time. A little louder here tonight. Got it away. Gulliford returning for Saskatchewan, dropped at the 45. Rhinson leading the BC tacklers. And penalty markers in several areas of the football field. I can count 3 right now.
Now this is sort of after the fact, pushing and shoving. They'll sort it out.
We'll check out the infractions into the 4th quarter. Roughriders on top of the Lions by 5. 13:25 to go on Lou Pasaglia's final night as a BC Lion in British Columbia. Lots of friends, dignitaries, family here. Out to witness tonight. Great crowd on hand at BC Place. Right now, first down. Marvin Graves and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Intercepted by Carter. He's got room to roam to the far side. Now, coming back the other way. Eric Carter with a great return. And finally, it's the quarterback, Marvin Graves, who rolls him out of bounds. So hope for the Lions to get back into the lead on an interception and a 30-yard return by Eric Carter. Tipped, and here goes Eric. CFL Live from Vancouver. There's a standing ovation here for Lou Pasaglia. For some reason, they've dimmed the lights here in the middle of the 4th quarter to put a sign up.
They've shut the lights so that everyone could say thank you to Louis Pasaglia. Standing ovation so they can see the sign, "Love you, Louie," number 5. They'll have a ceremony following the game, but just a way to stop it for a second and say, thanks for an unbelievable career.
Love you, Louie night here at BC Place. Here's Farhan.
Thanks, John. We're here with outgoing CFL Commissioner John Tory. And John, obviously Louis Passaglia means so much to this community. Talk about what he has meant to the league and Canadian football.
Well, I think there are people like Pinball Clemens and Louis Passaglia who are just so incredible in terms of not only their athletic accomplishments. Look at this guy. He holds pro football records, you know, way outside of the CFL. Pinball is just an incredible person. But that's the thing about these guys that I think really makes them mean so much more to the fans and to the communities, is that they're so much a part of the communities they play in. And they're people that are so well loved, not just as athletes, but as people. So it's a tough year to have two guys like that retiring. But on the other hand, you know, I have a feeling these guys could be back. How many times has Louis retired now? 2 or 3? I said to Pinball today, he got an honorary degree at York University. I hope you come back and play a few games next year and retire again.
You're also on your way out as far as the CFL is concerned. Talk about what the future holds for the league without yourself and 2 pretty impressive players.
Well, look, I hope that these guys do well in their future career, whatever they do. This is, by the way, I guess maybe the first CFL game we'll have to call on account of darkness inside. But I hope they do well. And as for myself, I hope I can help Mike Lisco, the new commissioner, to do whatever he needs to do to keep building the league. We've made a lot of progress over the last 2 or 3 years, and we've got to keep it growing and keep it getting stronger.
John, thanks for your time and everything you've done for the league.
Thanks a lot.
John.
Well, I think the lights are gradually coming back on, but we can't play here for a minute or two. The one thing we should mention there is it's been an interesting week in Canadian football, actually a couple of weeks going back to pinball. But last week, the Giz played his final game at Commonwealth Stadium. He was the only player introduced. Henry Williams is retiring at the end of the season, too. And I don't know if there was a more electrifying player who ever stepped on a CFL football field.
Well, it's been that kind of year. I mean, that is the year that the greats are retiring, and Louis Passaglia, one of them. You mentioned Henry Williams, Pinball Clemens, and you know what? Saskatchewan Roughriders have been in town for all 3.
Yeah, and they ruined pinball's night in Toronto. They screwed it up for the Giz last week.
And they're leading
the Eskimos, and they're leading the Lions here tonight. You know, one more win for Saskatchewan along the way, and they could have been fighting for a playoff spot tonight.
Yeah, that was a classy, classy move. Stop the game. Why not? He'll retire his jersey tonight.
Well, I'm wondering exactly what's going on. We weren't told this was going to happen.
No, no one was told, and now Saskatchewan Roughriders are wondering why a flag hasn't been thrown for delay a game against the home team. They want this game to continue, and the lights are slowly coming back on, but no question that was planned.
We're going to turn on the lights and finish this thing off here tonight. Right now, a quick timeout from the stadium at BC Place on Louis night. Well, it's Louis night, and it was a nice touch dimming the lights to honor Lou Passaglia, but apparently it was an accident. That was supposed to happen at the end of the game.
Well, it was so orchestrated. I was looking at the sign up on the roof, and I was thinking, you know, this has got to be a planned deal. Well, it was planned, but it was planned for the end of the game, and someone hit the switch early.
Yeah, so maybe a little computer glitch.
Well, now the problem is it takes a while for the bank of lights to come back on. So now we've got to wait. Now the question is, will the Lions be penalized?
12:53 to go on the quarter. Our plane leaves
at,
what, 11:30 this time.
We're in trouble.
The last red eye.
Well, hopefully the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Calgary Stampeders can hold off kickoff for a bit tomorrow.
Or maybe our candidate will hold the flight for us. We're going to be there as soon as we possibly can. Anyway, it's Louis night here, and a great crowd on hand to really remember this legendary football player who played a rather unlikely 25 years for one team.
Yeah.
And I mean, 25 years at any job is really quite incredible in this day and age. In sport, 25 years with an organization is incredible. But then when you're in the same position for 25 years as the kicker and punter, it's really an unheard of story. But Lou Passaglia, quite enjoying things now.
Well,
I think he was nervous before the game, but
well,
I'm
John,
sure he's enjoying life right now.
You know, and I'd like to bring the panel in on this one, too, because some are saying here that he should be an automatic inductee into the Hall of Fame, and there's a waiting list that you have to go through, or waiting period, I should say. But I think if there's a guy that you can make an exception for, it would be Louis Pasaglia, and I'd love to hear the panel's opinion on that one.
Well, I'm going to give mine first.
What's yours?
If Gretzky and Lemieux are automatics for the Hockey Hall of Fame,
yep.
I think 25 years with one team and all he's accomplished is an automatic in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Guys?
All right, Eric, what do you think?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question about it.
Matty?
That's a given.
Is that a unanimous across the board there?
Oh, yeah, no problem. That's unanimous, Suits. That is a given. He should, they should just go ahead and fly him out to Hamilton tomorrow.
Well, he's got to keep the jersey on for one more week at least.
Yeah,
because
no.
he's in that semifinal. But
No, this isn't so long farewell to Louis, because he can still be playing in the Grey Cup. This is so long farewell from BC Place. What did Schultz have to say? Anything?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, after that much time and that much energy, and the thing that I like about it is he played for one team. He's part of the city of Vancouver. I think he's very deserving, guys.
And Schultz, you've always been really sympathetic with kickers of all kinds.
That is, and you guys are really rubbing it in. That's all right, though. They're unique in the sense that they have to play with pressure at a key moment in the game. When they do their job, I love them.
Yeah. When they do, you love them win or tie, right, Schultz?
Yeah, as long as they win and as long as they tie.
Well, I don't think there's any question that he's obviously going to the Hall of Fame, but whether or not he should bypass the time period is the question. And
Automatic, I think they should do it.
Retire
in 2001.
Kick off the 2001 season with a little ceremony inducting him, and and there's also plans in the making as to whether or not he stays in the organization here in BC.
Okay, guys, while we've got you there, let's deal with some playoffs next week. Do the Lions have a decent chance at Commonwealth in Edmonton the way Damon Allen is playing?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a terrific football game. Both of these teams are playing well. Both teams have exciting quarterbacks. I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to come down to who can make the plays. Who can make the plays. The thing that I like about BC is that they have the two big physical backs in Sean Millington and Robert Drummond. And I think you can get bad weather oftentimes late in the season, and that could be the difference for British Columbia. Although Mark Nora and Troy Mills might want to argue with me a little bit.
And I like the Eskimos next week's game because they're getting healthy defensively. Doug Peterson's coming back, Terry Ray's coming back, Ralph Staten can be available, and we saw a good play by Torrey Hunter. So I think the Eskimos are getting healthy at the right time. So I'm favoring them right now.
Guys, I like the Eskimos because Matt mentioned all those players that are coming back. You know what those players all have in common is they're fast athletes. Speed is what you need in playoff football, and Edmonton has it.
What about that Eastern semifinal? You take a look at Winnipeg coming off their big win, and Hamilton is struggling. Matt, what is going on with that offense, the Hamilton Tiger Cats right now?
Well, I'm not getting a straight answer from the people I talk to. They him and Han, they say it's a confidence thing right now. And a lot of people are starting to look over the shoulders, and they say, you know how it goes, Matty. And I said, well, I guess you do, but the fact of the matter is they've won one game in their last 7. They've lost their last 5. They've lost their last 5. This is a team that is in disarray. The defense is staying on the field too long. They haven't been able to sustain drives. This all has to be answered tomorrow in order for them to have a ray of hope against a team like Winnipeg coming in on a roll.
And guys, I tell you, if Hamilton does not play well against Calgary, I don't think they have a shot really to get to Montreal. I really think that, so much of this is about belief, about confidence. And that first moment of adversity in a playoff game is heightened because the emotions are much higher. So the teams that are settled in their mind, that have confidence, those are the teams that are going to win the playoff game.
You know what, guys, the way I see it, if Winnipeg's going to advance in this playoffs, they're going to have to change the trend they've had all year, and that is failure or inability to be successful on the road. They've won only 1 of 9 road games this year. By coming in 3rd in the East, they're going to have to travel to Hamilton. If they win, they have to go to Montreal. But you know what? After you hadn't been in the playoffs for 4 years, it's great to have an opportunity to change that trend.
Outstanding player nominees while we're waiting for them to turn the lights back on here in Vancouver on Louis' night. Outstanding player nominees. From Montreal, Pringle. From Toronto, Mitchell. From Hamilton, Montford. Winnipeg, Stiegel.
Well, the question is it a two-horse race between Dave Dickinson and Mike Pringle, or...
I think it is, don't you guys?
You know what,
Pringle, Dickinson in the final.
You know, I think both of those guys will be the two finalists. My personal opinion, and I'm sure the guy to the left of me is going to agree, but, you know, you look at a quarterback like Dave Dickinson. We've seen a lot of great quarterbacks in this league. You know, we've seen Doug Flutie, we've seen Matt Dunnigan, all the guys, but when have we seen a quarterback with a 6-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio? Calgary won the West. Dave Dickinson was outstanding. I think he's the guy. I think he's the most outstanding player, Matt.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, we got to get through the West first in the initial balloting, but I think Dave Dickinson is a lock there. But you look, Terry Ray can go to the defensive player and easily win that. You know, so I think some of this will happen. I think people and voters will look at this and say, well, Mumford could go to defense and he can win it, so we won't vote for him for most valuable. And John, I think that Pringle is a lock coming out of the East. You know, he's been a dominant football player, and I just I don't see how it can be seen any other way.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, I still have a consideration for Mike Pringle in the sense that he has done so many physical things with the football. I admire the way he prepares. I admire the style of football that he plays, his focus, and a lot of that is set up by the fact that Mike Pringle trains immensely hard in getting ready for the football season. If either of those guys win, I think both of them are deserving. Dickinson is an absolute key to the Calgary Stampeders, and Mike Pringle is an absolute unique running back in our league.
Well, and then you take a look at the outstanding Canadian ballot, and I still think there's one little point that I should make about outstanding player, and all of these awards, as a matter of fact, I really believe the voting should wait until later on and include the playoffs, because you talk about a guy like Dave Dickinson, Mike Pringle, and take a look at the Canadians as well. You know, in the playoffs when the weather is cold can change it too, and how much more of a factor is Mike Pringle at that time?
Yeah, well, I don't agree with you at all. It's got to happen at Grey Cup time. And before we go and pick the winners, I was just hoping we could deal with the finalists and have some fun picking the winners Grey Cup week. So when you're looking at these Canadians, guys, just deal with who you think might be representing East and West come Grey Cup week. Let's not eliminate everybody right off the bat.
Couldn't agree more. I'm looking at the outstanding Canadians out of the East, and I love Michael Philbrook, what he does with the Hamilton defensive line. He takes on 2 or 3 players, and he does this continuing to free up Mumford and the linebacking core of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So I like Philbrook there. And out of the West, I like Sean Millington. Why? Because he's not a one-dimensional back. He certainly can pound in the middle. He can run outside, and he can catch the football, and he's a special teams player. He's just an outstanding athlete there. So I think it's Millington and Philbrook.
And also, I mean, David Sanchez, and I think the thing about Sanchez is the fact that he also can play the cornerback position. He can play the inside half. He comes up with some big plays, and also like the fact that he's a high-energy player. And you kind of combine him with Kelly Wilshire. You need those type of guys that, well, you know, how do you say it politely, that talk a lot, and they talk aggressively to the opponent. You know what I mean? You need that personality on the defensive side of the football, because defenses dictate emotion to offenses. I think those 2 guys are key for Montreal to have good playoff games if they're going to get to the Grey Cup.
All right, guys, it's about 3 minutes till lights on full here, so let's whip through offensive linemen. East-West, who do you think the nominees will be into the final ballots of Grey Cup week?
Guys, I really like David Hack. I think he's been underestimated. I described it before in the pregame show. He's the one guy that does not really, he accepts challenges. He accepts the intimidation side of football. He's the one that stands up. He's the one that always is like getting kicked out of the game when he starts these fights, so they start him with him. And I think that's an important part of a football team. So I'm a little bit leaning towards David Hack to have an opportunity to have that award.
All right, now, guys, I want to go to the defensive side of the game where it really matters at this time of year. What are you looking at, top defensive player?
Well, you know, I think clearly the best defensive player in the Canadian Football League, and these are 8 quality nominees, is Joe Montford. Guys, you know the importance of a big-time pass rusher. They change a game. Joe Montford has, 19 sacks. The next guy, Shante Peoples, has 12. This is a guy that's played his butt off through 5 consecutive losses, and I think he's very deserving. Out west, I think the nominee is Terry Ray. On most years, he would win it. I mean, he's really been an integral part of the growth and development of this Edmonton defense. Both good football players, but at the end of the day, I vote for Joe Montfort.
Hey, Matt, how about outstanding rookie this year? Calgary's Mark Boerichter might figure in from the west, and who do you think from the east into the final ballot?
Well, let's not jump out of the west just yet, because I don't agree with that. I like George White, 102 tackles, leads the league. He's 5th in special teams tackles, and the 4 guys in front of him, all they do is special teams. So this guy's a player in 2 out of 3 facets of this Canadian Football League game. But out of the east, I'm looking at Michael Jenkins. Michael Jenkins, he's a big playmaker. I think he's going to be a back of the future. I think we're going to start talking about him like we talk about Pringle.
Well, and it still may not be Ryland Wickman out of Winnipeg before it's over. That might be Albert Johnson. It depends. They're still arguing that one.
The Bombers aren't happy that that it went that way, and everybody is looking into the fact that Albert Johnson III was the unanimous pick by the reporters in Winnipeg and overruled at CFL headquarters. And there's a little bit of a mix-up there as to why that was done. So we're not really sure what might happen there when it's all done.
That's very unfortunate for Wickman, because that could ruin his chances. Can completely ruin a kid's chances of getting some votes on the ballot. And then Don Matthews is left off the coach's ballot.
Well, I got a ballot the other day that didn't include Wickman, so I didn't vote for him.
That's a shame, because the kid's had an outstanding year, 4th in league in tackles.
Hey, Glenn, I thought you had the best line of the year when you said Albert Johnson goes to training camp. He gets rookie pay. Why then does he not qualify for Rookie of the Year? That's a tough one to explain to him.
Exactly. Hey, guys, Louis said let there be light, and there almost is. So we're going to try and resume the football activity here. 12:53 to go in the 4th quarter.
Louis, on behalf of the Kickers over here with the Toronto Argonauts, I'd like to say thank you for the memories. I wish you the very best in the future, and hopefully I'll see you on the golf course. Take care.
Noel Prefontaine, one of the best in Canadian football. Let's bring in Farhan again.
Yeah, we stopped the game for, what, about 15 minutes? This is all you're doing.
That's what happens when somebody's stealing our energy and our hydro here in the province. I don't know where it's going, but it's good to have it back, though. It's a great way to, whether it was planned or not, but it was, wow. That's all I can say is wow.
The crowd doesn't seem to mind at all. They're all just waiting for the ceremony after the game.
Fun. This is the way it used to be, and it's nice to see it here at least one more time.
You're 2 for 2 now. Are you afraid to kick that next field goal?
Let's not talk about that. We still got 12 minutes, and if I got to kick one, I got to kick one.
All right, I'm not getting blamed for a jinx here, fellas.
Okay, thanks for bring that up, by the way.
I don't think you can jinx Louis Passaglia.
2 for 2. We're ready to go. Lou Passaglia.
Well, the guys had to stretch out again. Went through a whole warm-up routine.
So where are we? Is this first down BC? I guess so. Doug Nussmeier grabbed from behind and thrown to the turf at the 50-yard line.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders had a bunch of time to drop a brand new defense, and they decided to bring the free safety. They had 15 minutes over there to draw something up. They said, let's bring Marcus McDavid off the edge. It's something they haven't seen, and it will work, and it did.
Loss of 10 yards, thanks to McDavid. Riders on top of the BC Lions, 25-20. Final football game, and BC plays for this season. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham can't get away out there, and the Lions are definitely out of Louis range here.
Well, what a play there, though, by Jackie Mitchell. I mean, he came up, took on the block of Brett Anderson, threw him aside, and made a big tackle on Jimmy Cunningham. I mean, let's get back to some hitting in the football game here. Watch this. Number 8 just gets steamrolled by Jackie Mitchell, stood up and put down on his back, and down goes Jimmy Cunningham. Big time play right there. He's gonna throw.
Gets to throw it out to the far side. Not enough for the first down.
Oh, what a throw!
One more completion for Lou Passaglia, though.
Well,
it was third in a whole bunch.
Coming into the game, he was 22 of 38 for 459 yards passing his career. This is a formation they've shown before this season. Throw it out there to Chuck Levy, but they had a long way to go for the first, and he couldn't get there.
So it'll be a turnover charge to the Lions. And what to watch for tonight? Louis to kick, seen lots of that.
Yep.
Louis to pass the run. Well, we've seen the pass now.
Seen the pass.
And the
he's already done that too.
Yeah, the foul was supposed to be later, but then the little power failure or light shortage here in Vancouver brought it on a little early. There'll be another one later. Davis running well again. And he is over 1,000 yards in his rookie CFL season. Coming in with 910. He was at 999 prior to that carry. So 1,000 yards for Darren Davis.
That's great. I'm glad Steve Barretto called it. It's a game that in the standings means absolutely nothing. To have Louis step up and throw a pass in his last game in BC plays is pretty cool.
We're waiting for the run by number 5. Davis for another 4, averaging 6.3 yards a carry. Saskatchewan's offense really got rolling when they found Darren Davis playing in his 12th game.
Well, last year, this is a team that ranked 7th in the league. They've increased their production in the running game. Last year, they ranked 6th throwing the football. They moved that up to 3rd. They added almost 100 yards in that category per game. And really improved offensively this year in a big way.
Marvin Graves steps up. Tight coverage. Vendras.
I think it was pretty good timing. Vendras wants a penalty. Eric Carter broke on the football, had his hand in there, and I believe he touched it first. I think it was pretty good timing on the break. Marvin Graves is all the way down in the secondary trying to get the call. You be the judge. Comes across, well, he might have that left hand just a tad early. It helps when you slow it down into slow motion.
So the Riders look at 3rd down.
They're going to gamble.
3rd down and 5 to go, Saskatchewan. Graves remains in there.
It'd be a 51-yard field goal attempt for Paul McCallum, which would be longer than his longest this year, but
he's not in there.
It's indoors, and they're going to gamble.
2 receivers, make it 3 receivers to the near side for Graves. And that's where he looks to his right. He's got Marsh. Missed him. Marsh got in behind. Turnover the other way. 1st and 10 for the Lions when we return to the CFL Live from Vancouver. Welcome back to BC Place. Couple of yards for Buffalo on the play we just missed. There, make it 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Interesting gamble for Danny Beard. I guess, obviously you have nothing to lose in the standings or anything like that, but you're up by 5 and give up the field position to gamble on 3rd and, what was it, 4 or 5?
Yeah, it was a long way. Nussmeier on 2nd and 5. Will he get it away? He does. And it's complete to Cunningham. He stayed inbounds. They rule it a catch. Needed 5. Well, he's got close to that. Let's see where they spot the ball.
Moving the pocket around, and Doug Nussmeier giving us a little example of his strength. Uses his right arm. Of course, he's a left-handed passer. To buy himself some time.
A yard shy of the 1st down.
Now they're going to punt.
Well, because they want to get Louis into the game.
Is this going to be the run?
3rd and 1. Pasaglia passed on 3rd down the last time. Interesting formation for a punt setup, is it not?
Yeah, it really is.
He's under it. And the Riders get it out to about the 32 on the return by Gulliford. Saskatchewan on top, 25-20. Marvin Graves has gone all the way for the Roughriders tonight, with Henry Burris watching from the sidelines, still nursing an injured right shoulder. Graves has Marsh. Marsh has a 1st down and then lost the ball. Lions all over it. Who's got it? I think it finally rolled to the BC Lions, although Danny Barrett is arguing down there Glenn?
Well, the bench erupted trying to convince the officials it was Saskatchewan ball. I think they got it back. They did.
At least 3 BC Lions had better opportunities than the Roughriders.
Well, Michael Fletcher, I believe, had the first crack at it. He's the guy who knocks it out of there.
1.
He gets up. Well, no, it was actually Mike Crum. He had a
2.
chance. Look, there's 5 of them
3,
there.
4.
And Chris Zarka.
And Zarka actually came up with the ball before it went out of bounds.
The one Rough Rider in the 6 BC Lions comes up with the football.
And the Riders did have enough yardage for the first down. So from the 49, 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Davis is hammered by Mike Fletcher. Gain of a yard. This will be 2nd and 9, 7:13 to go. Fans are getting a little louder here now. Farthing's first catch of the night, I believe. Nope. Couldn't hang on.
That's interesting now. 3rd and 8 was 3rd and 6, and Danny Barrett gambled. 3rd and 9, and he's going to punt. So I guess that extra 3.
Yeah. Well, when you've got the lead, here's what's on the line for the Rough Riders. They won 3 games all of last year. They hang on and win this tonight, they've doubled that count, which is a marked improvement for a team that really struggled last season. So they can double their number of wins, even though they don't quite make the playoffs. Fletcher stumbles. And the Lions will start deep in their zone. NFL primetime tomorrow night, beginning at 7:30, 4:30 Pacific. Carolina against the Super Bowl champions from St. Louis.
Without Kurt Warner still. They don't seem to skip a beat, though.
Pretty interesting team to watch. So that's primetime tomorrow night on TSN. Little football in the afternoon as well. We'll watch final game of the 2000 season from Iverwind Stadium in Hamilton as the Tiger Cats host the Calgary Stampeders.
Interesting formation right now. Doug Nussmeier, Alfred Jackson started in the backfield. And now he's sliding out.
Don Blair. Eight yards for Blair. His first catch of the night.
Season long. Saskatchewan has lived and died by the blitz. And once again, look at everybody on the line of scrimmage for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's been the team picture when you look at their defense. Quarterbacks across this league have seen that all season long. Put them all on the line of scrimmage. Don't disguise anything. Send them. And let's see if we can get home before you could throw the ball. It's worked at times. But then when you throw in the fact that you have an all-rookie secondary, and it can make it for a long night at times as well.
Well, Blair a little closer to the first down than I first indicated.
You know, as this secondary in Saskatchewan gets more experience, that style of defense will become more effective. And they can play man-to-man and hold their own throughout a game. You can put more pressure on and put more people on the line of scrimmage.
Second down, matter of inches, and that should be enough for the first down with under 6 minutes to go. Well, what does Danny Barrett need most for next season?
Well, you know, I think if he can keep his young secondary together, they'll be that much better. He's probably still looking for a true middle linebacker. He's played with Aaron Collins in there. George White is a great linebacker and has played primarily on the outside, but probably needs another middle. Would like a good rush end on defense. A dominant rush end. I mean, you need a guy coming off the edge to really force teams to double team you. And I don't know that he has that right now. Arkel Chuluk 1 sack on the season. And it's not always the statistic of sacks that counts, but has not been the dominant player they thought he would be. They have good people in the middle. You see one of them, Demetrius Maxey. And on offense, they're pretty good.
Not bad at all. Nussmeier has Jackson again. Jackson turns it on. He's out at midfield. 4:50 to go.
Well, I'm starting to see a storybook kind of unfold here on Louis Knight. Gets down here, kicks a field goal. That brings it to within 2.
Then gets down again, kicks one more.
Then with no time on the clock, slides down, kicks the winner.
And says sayonara.
And puts a bow on
So
the
long,
last
thank
night
you.
in BC Place.
Simon Buffo has run well since getting a chance with Millington resting up on the sidelines.
This is also the downside of a defense that puts everyone on the line of scrimmage, because you don't have a second level. The second level is usually your linebackers. Well, if your linebackers are all up on the line of scrimmage, all it takes is a little crease and you're back in the secondary. See, they're all up on the line now. If there's just one little crease open up and away he goes. There's no second level back here.
Nussmeier in some trouble, being chased down and fired to the turf. Wrapped up by Chance McCarty.
Well, it'd be a long field goal right now. If they don't gain another inch, you're looking at around a 48-yarder for Louis Passaglia. His longest on the season, 45.
Second down and a whole bunch necessary. 2nd and 17.
See the offensive line, you know what was happening there. Craig Hendrickson, the left tackle, saw a blitz coming. When he saw the blitz coming from Saskatchewan, he tried to call Brett Anderson in to get some blocking help off the edge, or Doug Nussmeier was going to be exposed. They're all waving. Well, look at Steve Harden is in there. He's waving over. Brett Anderson is over in this area. And they're trying to say, hey, there's too many out here. We got too many guys off the edge. We need some help. Couldn't get Brett Anderson over in time.
2nd and 21 then. Out the Rider 46. The Lions are going backwards. Nussmeier looks deep, looks for Jackson. Flags have to come down on that.
Yeah. And you know what?
Jackson was body checked.
And it wasn't even really a catchable pass.
No. And he's also hurt.
Yeah, and this is devastating news if this is bad for the BC Lions.
3-minute warning. Jackson is up in a hurry, and there's public enemy number 1 in BC right now. Well, hang on, it's on the other side. Marcus McDavid. Game story tonight brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight. Here's what we have.
It's Louis Knight. 8 points from Passaglia, and guess what? He's in the huddle right now.
Yeah, we thought the party was over when the lights went out, but it continues here tonight.
AJ, 1,000 yards receiving, and Davis and Millington over 1,000 yards. And right now in the huddle on the 1-yard line.
Lou Passaglia, is he a quarterback, wide receiver, kicker? What do you think? 3:02 to go.
Well, he's calling the play right now. So Doug Nussmeier is not there. This is not the field goal formation.
Passaglia behind the center. Did he get the touchdown? He did. Louis has the touchdown. They have to feel him off the pile. Oh, look at the arm on him. He threw it up into the second deck.
Well, in his very first game in 1976, John Shara threw him a touchdown pass. In his last game in BC Place in the regular season, he gets his one and only rushing touchdown, a 1-yard plunge.
Now he adds one more point because it's automatic on the convert. Whoa, second effort, Louis. The guy's 46.
Well, he took 46 hits in the middle of that pile, one for every year.
Well, do you think they go for 2? He's the all-time leader in scoring in professional football history. Coming into this game tonight,
you know what? They should go for 2.
he was 28 points shy of 4,000, an absolutely unbelievable milestone. Here's Passaglia. He'll hammer it through. One more convert. So 2:47 to go. I don't think he can get to the 28.
Well, we told you what to watch for at the beginning of the game, right? Said to watch for him kicking, watch for him passing. He's done that. Watch for him running, and now he's done that.
It's been quite a night. It really has. 33,300 are here tonight to salute Louis.
He needs 10 more points for 4,000.
Well, that's only a touchdown, a convert, and a field goal. He can do that.
We've seen him throw.
It's only to round out the number because he's got the record.
Yeah, we've seen him throw. We've seen him run now for a 1-yard touchdown. He's taken a bow when the lights went out. He'll take another bow at the end of this football game in a situation where the team really should have gone for 2, because now it's a 2-point game. If they go for 1 and get it, it's still a field goal beats you. If you get the 2 and get it, field goal ties it. But they wanted to give Louis that extra point.
Well, it's been a fun night, and 25 years of watching Lou Passaglia has really been something rather special. I mean, we've seen a lot of great kickers in this league. We just haven't seen one who is as consistent as Lou Passaglia for as long as he has been consistent.
Now, of concern is the health of Alfred Jackson heading into the playoffs in 1 week in Commonwealth Stadium. He went down to get Louis Passaglia the opportunity for that 1-yard run. This was the hit from Marcus McDavid. Blatant pass interference, and he went down and favored his wrist immediately. That left wrist went down to the turf hard. He grabbed it right away, and that's what he was favoring when he walked off.
So he's got ice on it over there, and hopefully it's not too serious, but you can tell that Alfred Jackson is still in a little bit of pain.
Well, and if he can't go next week, obviously I'm not speculating that it's that bad, but he can't go next week. What a huge loss in a mean-nothing game for Steve Barato.
Lions take it deep into the final 3 minutes. Riders ready to return. Demetrius Bendras slides to the outside, and he's forced out by Brett Anderson.
Well, now it's a 2-point game, and this is pretty good field position for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 4 first downs from them, and they're kicking a field goal. And now it's a 1-point lead for the Riders with time ticking down. Are we setting up the storybook ending or what?
Well, I don't know what else can happen here tonight on Love You Louie night in Vancouver.
I asked him about if he was commissioner for a day, what would he do?
Missed the tackle there. Eric Gulliford to the 30, to the 41. And who missed the tackle?
Well, a couple of missed tackles in the open field. And all of a sudden, Saskatchewan's in field goal range.
2:25 to go. Riders with another big gain, another first down, set up at the BC 42. I should say so. There are 3 flags down. Make that 4. Here's Farhat.
Well, John, I just spoke to Alfred Jackson, and apparently it's not his wrist that's injured, it's the fingers on his left hand. Not a break or any sort of a dislocation, but a nerve problem. He says right now he can't feel the tips of any of the fingers on his left hand. Right now he's obviously in a lot of pain, and like Glenn says, they could ill afford to lose him for next week's playoff game.
All right. And a receiver needs to have feeling in his fingers.
Particularly in Commonwealth in mid-November. Could be a little nippy up there. It was a procedure call against Saskatchewan.
25 years and number 5 still pretty competitive, isn't he?
Yeah.
He wants to win this baby.
He has a touchdown. He has a completion. He has field goals and converts. And the Riders have a first down on a catch by Ching. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, no,
they needed a whole bunch more than that. They had 10 yards, but they still need more.
That was the front marker he passed. It was the penalty took him back. He got back to the front and basically made up the yardage they lost in the penalty and then a couple extras. So now they get into a 2nd and 8 situation. In field goal range.
2:02 to go. And this place is wild, as I'm sure you can hear. Gulliford, ball squirts loose. Lions think they have it. I don't think so.
Gonna say it was down.
See, I'm guessing if Louis went out and said, it's our ball, they would have given it to BC.
They'd give it to him. Gulliford catches it. He fights for some extra yards. He's about 3 short of the first down right there, and he was definitely on his back when the knee came through and knocked the ball out. So the officials were right on it. Saskatchewan will bring in the field goal team. Now, something that they like to do and have done in the past is to shift that front line down and try and draw the Lions offside.
Well, this is setting up for quite a conclusion here. If McCallum makes this, we're going to see a wonderful finish. He's wide. Jimmy Cunningham has a chance to get it out, but decides he'll give up the single point.
He's just wasting time. He's just trying to get as many seconds off the clock as he can because the single doesn't hurt them right now.
So add one more to the Roughrider total, but what I was saying, had McCallum made it, would have given the Lions a minute 23 to drive and then set up Louis for a shot at the winning field goal. Farhan.
John, last week it was Damon Allen's turn to celebrate the spotlight in front of all of these fans. This week it's Louis Passaglia. Damon, tell me what you think he's going through.
Well, it should be an exciting time for him, and you can tell that during the game we're trying to get as many points as we can for him, but it has to be an exciting time. At the same time, you know, he's probably ready to go on and move on. He had an outstanding career, and it's a career that the BC fans of Vancouver will always remember.
Still got a couple of games left. Hopefully you're going to Edmonton next week. Look ahead to that matchup.
Yes, right now is just trying to get everybody healthy out of this game, but yeah, we're excited about the opportunity for us to go to Edmonton next week.
Damon, good luck.
Thank you.
Everybody healthy out of that game, and Alfred Jackson will be the talk of the town all week long.
23 yards on the previous run by Simon Buffo. And the BC Lions, with 1:16 on the clock, have a 1-point lead. And under normal circumstances, they'd like to get as much time off this clock as possible. These are not normal circumstances. They want Louis to kick one more, don't they?
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that they have a 1-point lead. Buffo again behind Big Dan Payne. It's been a long night here. Tonight the lights went out at BC Place.
Well, the flags fly after the fact again. And Jamie Terrace is in an all-out brawl with Andrew Henry. He's going to get tossed. Something happened at the bottom of that pile that has Jamie Terrace riled.
What time's that flight, partner?
Yeah, I think we might be trying to catch the first one in the morning and on the dead fly. Whoa.
Six flags are on the field. Well, the kicker and his owner, David Braley.
Well, the question is now, does Louis Pasaglia stay in the organization? And I asked him about it, and he'd love to. He would absolutely love to. He is the BC Lions, and I think the organization would be very wise to find a position for Louis Pasaglia, either as an assistant coach or somewhere in the front
meaningful
office.
position is what he needs. Because
Absolutely.
He's a very articulate and smart guy. It's not a question of just roving ambassador or something like that for Louis Pasaglia. I wouldn't believe. I would say find the right kind of position, and it would be a terrific idea. Less than a minute to go on Louis' night. From the stadium at BC Place, Lions have the lead by a point.
Congratulations, Louis. It's been great watching your career. Somebody that I obviously look up to, being from Vancouver as well, and you give the rest of us kickers hope to last as long as you have. So best wishes outside football, and we'll definitely be seeing you around.
Well, Louis still kicking down there on the sidelines. Less than a minute to go. It's a one-point ball game.
Jamie Terrace just got thrown out of the football game. Out of that whole fight, he was the only player to be thrown out, and the Lions are backed up to their 35. So the last kick that Louis may have is a punt in the regular season.
We should stress that.
Yeah.
So long to the fans of British Columbia, not so long to the game, because there's at least one more. Who knows, maybe two more, maybe three more. Interesting night as Louis kicked a couple of field goals and then into the end zone from 1 yard away.
Kind of got happy feet when he first took the ball, and then thought, well, I better dive in there, and it was actually the second effort that got him across the line. Well, here he is in punt formation.
This is third down and too many to count, Glenn.
Well, he needs a big one, though, because the the Riders have time to get back into field goal range and win this football game.
39 seconds on the clock.
Thought about
Whoa!
Got a huge one.
That's a heck of a kick for Louis Pasaglia. If that's the last one in this building, well, maybe not. Loose ball on the return. Louis may get a chance to kick another one.
They gave it to the Riders. The Riders have it, but what a punt.
47 yards. Nice way to be remembered.
Well, he needed a big one. He gets a bad punt off in this case, and the Riders are in perfect field position a couple first downs away. As it is, he gets the 47-yarder off, and now he's given the defense a chance. His last regular season in Canadian football, if he doesn't kick another field goal, he will have the record for field goal percentage in a single season. Like Damon Allen last week on a 45-yard bomb to beat Ron Lancaster, Louis Pasaglia is going to do that record in style.
It's a single-season record currently held by Dave Ridgway. 90.6% Ridgway had in 1993. In Louis' last season, the 25th year or silver anniversary tour for Lou Pasaglia.
I'll tell you
His percentage is better than Ridgway's, so that will be a new CFL record. Coming into the game, Pasaglia good on 38 of 42.
He's always been a very emotional player, very emotional person, and he's going to feel it as this game winds down.
This is it. Final 13 seconds. Loose ball. There might be one more kick for Louis.
I think there might be. He's wondering right now, do I go to get my helmet?
Just get him out there and let him hammer it through.
They want him to. The fans here in BC Place want to see one more time. Field goal from Louis Pasaglia. 10 seconds left on the clock. What he doesn't want to do is end on a miss.
Well, if he ends on a miss, now my calculator isn't working very well here right now. He's got his field goals. He needed one field goal without a miss. So now he's got 2 field goals. So if he did have a miss, does that drop that percentage down below 90.6?
You're asking the wrong guy. You know what? They're just going to let the clock run out.
They're going to keep the record.
A lot of people across this country are watching this game to celebrate great career of Louis Pasaglia, and I'm one of them. Played against him for 11 years, watched him as a kid growing up here in BC, and have now been had the opportunity to talk about him from the booth. Louis, thanks a lot for the memories, buddy.
Yeah.
Tremendous job. It was a great, great run.
Few athletes touch so many in a special way. Louis Pasaglia has had very few detractors in his 25 years on the CFL football field. This is the final night at BC Place, but Louis Pasaglia still has an opportunity in the next couple of weeks to win another Grey Cup.
Well, I'd say we give the Adidas game ball to number 5.
Yeah, well, he's already taken it. He's already got the darn thing down there.
Hey, BC Lions, and especially Louis Pasaglia, good luck in the playoffs, but a tremendous career, and all you can really say is congratulations. And I really hope that either with the BC Lions or with this league, he stays involved with the Canadian Football League. He's been a tremendous ambassador, and he has a great passion for Canadian football.
Hang in, the final farewell to Louis Pasaglia at the stadium at BC Place is coming up. The Lions have a few special plans to honor the greatest Lion of them all, Louis the Lion.
Swipe your club card at Safe.
The game story brought to you by the Keg, and of course, Louis Pasaglia was the game story. 16 total points, and not all of those coming off the foot. Had that big blackout in the fourth quarter, and a bunch of guys reaching milestones on this night. But of course, it was all about Louis Pasaglia, and we said off the top, the one regret he had is that he never scored a touchdown rushing, and I didn't think they'd give him the chance, but they did. That was something.
It was something. I mean, we saw a little bit of everything tonight. The lights went out at BC Place, and Louis Pasaglia scored from the one on a rushing touchdown. Very unique. But anyway, on the big picture, how about the BC Lions? They've beaten Saskatchewan, beat Hamilton, could have beat the Calgary Stampeders, beat Saskatchewan convincingly 4 weeks ago. We look at Edmonton right now. Lost last night, lost previously in a 4-4 section overtime against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who has momentum going in right now, the BC Lions.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's pretty bold, Chris.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I just said the momentum.
I just want to say, hey, when Louis started, these are the guys that were playing. All-Stars in 1976. Ronnie Lancaster, Jimmy Edwards, Jimmy Washington, Art Green, Tony Gabriel, Rhett Dawson, George McGowan, Al Wilson, Ralph Galloway, Dave Bragans, Dan Yoakum, Butch Norman. That's offense. Defense, Granny Liggins, John Helton, Bill Baker, Junior Ayal, Harry Walters. Hey, just to give you an idea, he's been playing a long time. Hey, congratulations, Louis. Glad to see you went out on a positive note.
And speaking of a long time, we've thrown a lot of accolades to Louis' way tonight, but let's throw another one there. How about persistence? His first game with the BC Lions, he gets a touchdown as a receiver. He lasts 25 years till he gets another one. Like Chris said, who would have ever thought a kicker would get a touchdown on a quarterback sneak? But it was a great win for BC. Louis did everything right. They found a way to win. They got out healthy, and they go into a big, big game next week with Edmonton, basically pretty healthy. Again, for BC, they're getting hot at the right time, and we're going to have a heck of a game next week because I guarantee you Don's going to have his guys ready.
All right, yes, the ceremony is coming up for Louis Pasaglia. And yes, without a doubt, the best kicker of all time, he leaves the game. But, I don't know, the best quarterback, the best runner,
lower your shoulder.
We'll reserve some judgment. The form not great, but he got it done.
CFL football on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate Air Cleaning Filters. Breathe the difference.
And so the final total in points for Louis Pasaglia in his career regular season, 3,992. You'd have to play 20 years, average 200 a year to even come close to that. That is unbelievable. Let's take you back to BC Place for Louis' tribute.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Louis Knight.
Boys and girls.
And we turn it over to a gentleman who's been covering Louis for the last 16 years straight. Oh, more field goals kicked by Louis than anybody else. The voice of the BC Lions from CKNW AM 980, J.P. McConnell.
Thank you, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to tonight's excitement. 33,232 of you. Good for you. And of course, we're all here to celebrate the career and the accomplishments of Louis Passaglia as he wraps up his long and brilliant career. 25 years, all here for your team. He has spoiled us all over the last 25 seasons. His run in the '85 Grey Cup in Montreal. His game-winning field goal in the '94 Grey Cup win right here. And throughout his great career, he has always gone out of his way to be the best, both on and off the field, in a career that has been highlighted with a world record 3,991 regular season career points, 2 touchdowns, 1,043 converts, 875 field goals, 309 singles. 3,991 career points. A pro football record that will undoubtedly stand forever. Tonight then, our opportunity, yours and mine, to salute one of the finest athletes to ever play here or anywhere. I hope you all took a moment tonight to read the Scotiabank game program to review the statistics that will make Louis not only a guaranteed resident of both the BC Sports Hall of Fame and the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, but also recognized throughout the world as the greatest kicker of all time. What an accomplishment by a kid from the East Side who just wanted to play for a little while. Let me, if you will, introduce you to the family behind the man. We'd like to have them front and center as Louis takes his bow tonight. They are Louis's daughters, Leah and Lauren. Twin boys, Christopher and Colby. Louis's wife, Loa. Louis's mom, Natalia, and father, Loris Passaglia. Louis's nieces, Stephanie and Vanessa. His nephew, Justin. His sister-in-law, Laura. And his brother, Walter. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the most prolific scorer in the history of football. Over 400 games, has scored almost 4,000 points, and he's done it all for one team, the BC Lions. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome the one, the only, Lou Passaglia.